Hello and welcome to the Land of the Lost tournament. We have two great teams for you. We have InstaGators versus Hobbit Hole. So this is a grudge match going back years and years. Very much classic kind of Crusader, Voyager, Archon level teams, whatever. And these people have been around for a while. But I am joined by my lovely co-host, Queen J.
5 seconds.
How are you doing?
I'm really excited for this game.
Yeah, should be pretty sweet. So let's see, we got some picks and bans coming out.
All right.
And so let's see, we're opening with a Shadow Shaman and Spirit Breaker, so that's probably their two supports on the Hobbit Hole. I know Chad happens to like when he can see both supports. He believes in picking at least one core. I can tell you that Disruptor is probably for Chad himself, although I didn't see them ban out his Witch Doctor, so maybe he's just feeling it. I don't know. And then I don't know what position they like to run that Dragon Knight in, but presumably that is probably an off-lane Dragon Knight.
5 seconds.
Seeing some carries and whatnot being banned, it looks like. We got a Monkey King ban on the side of Hobbit Hole. We got a Razor ban and a Death Prophet ban on the side of Instigators. Marana. Yeah, probably a good ban. They still haven't picked their soft support. The nice thing about the Dragon Knight pick early on is that Dragon Knight can be played in multiple lanes if you really want to. So they don't have too much left. Concrete information on the side of Hobbit.
Radiant's up. Banning time.
Let's see, and the stream is going live as of now, so I'm gonna take a second to start advertising it on different servers.
We're 10 seconds out. Plenty of time to tell an announcer you love them if that's what's in your heart. 5 seconds.
What you got to say, Jay?
I'm like speculating on who's gonna be taking the Shadow Shaman Spirit Breaker. It looks like Hobbit Hole actually has a couple of players that have done pretty well with Shadow Shaman. So that'll be really interesting to see. And Instigators, I feel like we played them pretty recently, didn't we? With Mary Todd Lincoln?
Yeah, we played them. I can't remember if we went 1-1 or if they 2-0'd us or what happened there.
Dyer's turn to pick.
But yeah, these are both teams that did not make the regular playoffs, and so I organized a bunch of teams together to make our own playoffs. So this is basically the playoffs for the people who did not make the Voyager playoffs. And we see a Primal Beast coming out on the side of Hobbit Hole.
We're 10 seconds out.
And yeah, I have not seen too much Primal Beast this season,
if that's what's
honestly.
in your heart. 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. Haven't seen a lot of Primal Beast just in the games that we've had as well, and some of the teams that we've been playing. So this should be a pretty fun match.
Dyer's
Hey,
turn
I'm
to
streaming.
pick.
If you want to watch the stream, link is up on the Discord.
Okay.
Let's see. Clockwork, okay. So, probably a position 4 Clockwork, I would guess. And probably a position 3 Primal
10
Beast.
seconds. Radiant's up.
Bloodseeker.
Let's see. I'm just going around. I posted in the Fant, which I
10
think
seconds.
Isn't that? Yeah, it's a Hobbit Hole Discord. And then
5 seconds.
looking for the Instigator Discord. I don't think they're super active in it. Or maybe I'm just not a part of it. Whatever. Oh, whoops. I'm gonna put on some music for There we go. That's probably the right level of music. A butt seeker. And he's got a lot of booty to chase after. Will we see any Bloodseeker versus Spirit Breaker racing going on?
Dyer gets the ban.
Interesting, interesting. Do people play Gyro mid nowadays, or is he still a safe laner?
Feel like I've been seeing both Gyro
10
and
seconds.
Clockwork as position 4, but I mean they already
5
have
seconds. 4,
Shadow Shaman
3,
and Spirit Breaker, so
Yeah, that has to be a core Gyro, I think. I mean, with the Primal Beast out there, that
Radiant
can't
gets
be
the
a core Spirit Breaker. And that's pretty rare to begin with, so.
but is it a core Primal Beast? I remember when Primal Beast first came out, that was certainly something people were playing with different builds and trying to see if they could make a core Primal Beast work. Certainly in lower levels, like me and Harold, there are still people that will pick Primal Beast core.
Dyer gets the ban.
I think he's pretty much a core at this point. I haven't seen too much. Alright, what do you think of these two banners? Which team has the
10
better
seconds,
banner?
Just long enough to regret every
I
choice you
really
made
like
if
the
you hurry.
InstaGators banner.
5 seconds.
Yeah,
It's very clever.
It's pretty solid. It's kind of interesting. They have, like,
Radiant's up. Banning time.
I guess they copied it for the background.
Yeah,
Hobbit
I
holes
do
is kind of funny
though.
though.
Yeah, and like, I mean, if you love Lord of the Rings, it's a pretty
10
fun
seconds.
little joke there.
I like the choice of font. I do
We're
wish that
starting
they
in
went
5
with
seconds,
more of a
with or
texture
without.
for the background.
All right, Dyer's turn.
So let's see. Bloodseeker is another carry that can be run mid. And same with Gyro. So I mean, really, these guys can't know for sure, but it seems like both teams are thinking these are the safe laners because they are banning mid laners.
10 seconds.
Let's see. What sort of needs need to be filled here?
5 seconds.
I would like to see some more damage on the side of InstaGators. Because I think they have Bloodseeker as a good source. I don't particularly view Dragonite as a good source. I'm not the biggest Dragonite fan all around, to be honest, but he is useful in certain draft scenarios. And then what do we want on the side of Hobbit Hole? We have plenty of stun. We have tank. They have some magic damage from the gyro, so I feel like Hobbit Hole's in a position where, like, I don't see anything that screams out to me like, you know, they need to have this.
Radiant's turn to pick.
Imba Spirit.
Ah, their team is all red on the InstiGators side.
Welcome to
I wonder if that was their theme.
Enchantress.
All
It's a
right,
good
it's hero
point. It
choosing
could be,
time.
yeah. I like the Ember Spirit pick. I think that's a really solid idea. We'll see if Mike the Spike can do it.
All right, who wins the drip game here? Feel
I
like
love the
Hobbit
Primal
Holes.
Beast. Yeah. Oh, but the two-head... Wait, Chad's got something weird going on. He's mixed some sets to where now he has 3 heads on his Disruptor. That's pretty legit. Boobin leaving a lot to be desired. Same thing with Positive Attitude.
Yeah, maybe there's still and there's getting their strategy ready, but a little disappointed there.
Yeah, so I think you got to give it to Hobbit Hole.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I have pretty much the same exact set for that Shadow Shaman, by the way. And I am a big fan of that set, so.
Mm-hmm. I think on the Spirit Breaker, that's the Immortal Lantern.
I think you might be
Or
right.
maybe.
I can't remember what the name. I can't remember the name of any set is, to be honest with you. Like I struggle to remember the names of actual Dota things.
I know. I was just talking with my friend about this. That sometimes I don't remember the names of items, and so I'll just describe what the item does.
There's certainly a lot of them. All right, listen. I'm going to introduce the teams. Actually, I'll take Dire. So we get the InstaGators and Dire. We have on the Disruptor, we have Chad, probably position 5 Disruptor.
Cheers, my friends.
We have on the Ember Spirit a mid Ember. Playing mid, Mike the Spike on an Ember Spirit as Ember Spirit. We have Positive Attitude as the Clockwork, probably a position 4. And we have the Dragon Knight being played by Sam. Did I miss anybody? Okay, Boobin on the Bloodseeker, seeking some butt.
Cheers, my friends.
And would you like to do this side? Are you able to see my camera?
Sure. Actually, no, because I'm on a delay with the stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there's probably a way to watch my actual camera movement. But either way, yeah, go ahead and introduce the players on Hobbit Hole.
Yeah, we have Red Seal is playing the Enchantress. Propaganda on Primal Beast. Old Man Beef or Beef Supreme is on Spirit Breaker. Kool-Aid on Shadow Shaman, and Kaiser Zo's on Gyrocopter.
Alright, and I can tell you've not seen the usual suspects, because that is Kaiser Sose.
Sose, okay.
Yeah. Pretty intense thing. He's the captain this season. I think they've traded around who the captain is on the Hobbit Hole, and I think they're kind of taking turns at this point. They've kind of been together for a very long time. But Kaiser Sose, he was a fictional... Inside of a fictional movie, he was a possibly fictional drug lord who, when his family was kidnapped, and they tried to threaten his family if he wouldn't do whatever, he not only killed all the people threatening him, or all but one of them actually, he actually also then killed his family in front of the guy just to make a point of, like, you can't use them against me. So... legendary criminal figure in the fictional movie The Usual Suspects, unfortunately starring Kevin Spacey.
Oh, thank you for educating me on cinema, my friend.
Classic 90s neo-noir. Alright, up here in the top lane, what are we thinking? It should be a... I don't really see either team... I think Blood's going to come out in the top lane. And I don't mean the Bloodseeker. I think there's going to be kills at some point. As soon as, that Spirit Breaker is not going to sit around for forever. And I'm curious to see who come out on top of that. Mid, we are seeing the Enchantress currently kind of break even with the Ember Spirit, we'll say. And then down bottom... Okay, I don't know this matchup of Dragon Knight versus Gyro because I don't really play them. Like I called the First Blood, it looks like Bloodseeker's coming out on top. So we'll see if Propaganda can come back and possibly turn that around. Looks like they're still kind of breaking even in the mid lane. Looks like Kaiser Sose. Can you get these range creeps? Nope. And... yeah, looks like he maybe got one of them. He's going to
Tell
lose
Dyer's
his
middle
Shadow
tower's
Shaman,
in
but you
trouble
know
from
what?
the way it's being
He
destroyed as I speak.
knows the enlightened path. He's going to keep farming.
I love seeing the Enchantress mid. It's actually, I feel like Enchantress is sometimes underrated as a really strong, like, core mid hero. She can get away from a lot of situations and farm really quickly. Just all around a great hero.
Yeah, and I think what really will determine how well she can do is how well her Untouchable holds up later in the game, when it's given that extreme attack slow. I guess it would do well against the Dragon Knight. What's your... I think he kind of built... Doesn't he get attack speed? But probably not enough. So it's going to be a question of, can the Ember Spirit pump in enough of those Sleight of Fists at her? I would imagine not. This is my prediction. So hopefully Chad can get some really good ults onto her. Static Storm. No. Wait. Yeah, Static Storm. Hopefully Static Storm is able to do that if you were a InstaGators fan. And if you're a Hobbit Hole fan, hopefully not, I guess.
Shadow Shaman returning back to lane after taking a trip into the jungle and then returning to the fountains, teleported back to the lane.
Spirit Breaker. Now, so Beef Supreme is their kind of regular stand-in. Tim the Enchanter, I believe, is their usual player. But unfortunately, he had a baby, so he's been busy.
That's right, I remember that. It was what? It must have been 6 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, you'd think the baby would be, like, out of the picture by now, but apparently it's still being a baby.
A 6-week-old baby can take care of itself, right?
I believe in the American way, and I believe in, a self-made man. I think you gotta push your kids out of the nest and let them kind of, survive on their own.
We're gonna be wonderful parrots someday.
And nice little combo with the pullback and the blood right, but it didn't come through that time. So, but it does seem like InstaGators are getting a farming advantage everywhere except for the mid lane. A lot of denies on the side of Red Seal, which is pretty badass and hard to pull off as the ranged hero, I feel like. I feel like it's much easier to deny as the melee.
I'm also kind of curious. I feel like Shadow Shaman is one of those hard supports that can be a little more aggressive in the laning stage, and Kool-Aid has been playing a little more passively, so wondering if that's intentional, like to make sure that the gyrocopter is getting as much farm and experience, but also I think they could have there's a fight going on bottom.
Yeah, looks like they're gonna lose that Shadow Shaman, and I would imagine this Gyro walks away. Sorry, not Gyro. Yeah, Gyro. Okay, sorry. I'm confusing my keen for a second. But anyway, yeah, I think he's either new to the team or just a stand-in. I vaguely remember proving a stand-in. Wow, so there's a kill mid, so Red Seal really winning this lane. I think he usually is kind of the star of the team from a skill level. So
Dyer's middle tower is insured.
it's good to see him doing well, I guess, if you're a Hobbit Hole fan.
Kill spree.
Well, if you're watching the stream, I hope the frame drops have basically stopped. Very early Meteor Hammer. So this is the first. Basically, this tournament is taking place in a different patch than the rest of this artificial playoffs. Is taking place in a totally different patch than the regular season. And I'm curious to see how many Meteor Hammers we'll see, if that's going to be a big part of their strat. I don't think I usually see a Dragonite rush a Meteor Hammer, so like they must believe in this as part of the new meta.
Radiant's middle tower is about to be a pile of smoking rocks.
Sorry, I'm distracted by the
Bloodseeker now
clockwork
Is
just
hanging on by a
completely
Oh!
juking their whole team.
Radiant's courier just took a dirt.
He's probably going to die
Oh
for
no!
that. Oh!
Oh!
He just barely gets away. What we got going on here? Kaiser Sose gonna go down to that meme hammer, getting memed on.
Less deserving.
Oh.
Not the way, Sose. And they've sent propaganda mid to.
Radiant might want to haul some ass down to
I
their
think maybe
bottom
just
tower.
because he was kind of struggling in his own lane. I don't know. I don't feel like a Spirit Breaker is going to do too well solo being... I feel like when you're playing a Spirit Breaker, most people with stun and control want damage. I think Spirit Breaker, he's looking to just outstun the enemy. It's like, and he stun them more than they stun him. And in this instance, it looks like they'll get control in... Ooh, there's a big stack. He's almost outrunning it, but not quite. Propaganda's really committing. Is someone gonna pick up that bounty room? You know, like 3 people in the area.
Don't look now, but
on,
Radiant's
guys.
bottom tower is obliterated. Radiant's bottom is cashed in its brick chips.
Yeah, it'll be really great to see once the
Dyer's middle tower is taken
what is this? The Hobbit hole get more vision up around the map, and hopefully the Spirit Breaker will be able to start initiating on some of the heroes as they're farming in the jungle, getting some picks really early on. Yeah, so far Spirit Breaker has just kind of been hanging out, so we'll see.
Radiant's middle tower is about to be a pile of smoking rocks.
Oh, Chad's gonna get punished for his anti-boarding activities. And without the Bloodseeker in lane, with the Bloodseeker there farming deep in the jungle, he's not able to do that safely. So I think they just really want to push down these towers. That has to be the call. Like the concept of this Dragonite is that he wants to
Filled with blood.
corrosive breath and
Radiant's middle
knock
tower
towers
is hanging on
down.
by a thread.
It makes sense.
Get the towers down early.
And I just had to check, I was pretty sure, but corrosive breath does in fact apply to towers. So this one last meteor hammer hit, and unfortunately no deny for that Shadow Shaman. He is bringing Shadow Shame to his
If you're in
family.
the vicinity of Dyer's top tower, I'd put on a hard hat. That
Boobin
baby
is
coming
still
down.
running around in the jungle. There are some big stacks. Oh, that's why he's farming so deep. Okay, I was confused with that. It's because they're double stacking that those camps for him, and he's not ready to take them yet. Probably,
I see.
Probably he's going Maelstrom, I believe.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, they've been using the meteor hammers also to farm the stacks in their triangle.
They got this thought out. It goes to show, Land of the Lost tournament, InstaGators are taking this very seriously, and they're bringing the very serious strats to this Hobbit hole team. And it looks like they're going to lose that Primal Zaddy, and he's having a very difficult game, and it looks like they're going to get Old Man Beef as well. No, they are not. They're bringing force to defend. Boobin's hunting him down. He's getting some good extra speed. That smoke did not benefit him, but it did hit the Shadow Shaman.
Radiant does not like Dire's bottom tower, and it shows.
Comforting rune of regeneration.
Radiant's throwing all they got at Dire's bottom tower. If Dire doesn't haul
Like
ass and
Spirit
help
Breaker
out
is
that bottom tower,
charging
there's not gonna be
the
a
Dragon
tower
Knight.
left.
Is he going to stop early?
Things are looking
Yeah.
dire
Yeah.
at Dire's bottom tower. Wow, that's
Sorry, I was doing.
Forget I said that.
Sometimes I forget to
Bottom
actually
tower.
move the
Dire's
camera around, and I'm just watching the
historical
mini
bottom
map as I
tower
do
is
as a
destroyed.
player.
It was named, of course, after Jeff Bonnet.
I was just casting like where he'd be running through, which is where I'd be looking at as a player. So it looks like it's gonna be a very slow siege on this top tower. I don't think they're taking the same time to complete, but in the meantime, they are farming with that gyrocopter bottom, and he is definitely fighting their way up in the last Big old
Yeah,
team by
creating
having
a lot of
snakes are
space.
down. This is what I want as a Shadow Shaman. I want my snakes to be down in a fight and people to fight around my snakes. But,
Forget I said that. Their bottom tower is in
I
trouble.
didn't really get that much out of it. But you know, all they lost was a Shadow Shaman. Oh, and their gyrocopter has showed up. Dropping all the circles. Looks like we're getting everything but the Bloodseeker. Can they get that? Can they finish that guy off? Yes. The fight keeps on going. If only like Donkey Kong, Primal Zaddy could like move people around when he grabs them. And okay, dude, don't die to this, please. There's a Bloodseeker coming in for you. Oh god. Okay, so fight recap. Definitely 100% in the favor of Hobbit Hole. They gained back 1,000 gold in that. And will he keep that charge up or will he cancel it? I think Chad's probably thinking that he probably has someone coming. Oh, but he walks away, and at least he didn't send him back.
Oh no.
Borker has been borked himself. Mike the Spike looking for something in the back lines. He finds a full health Primal Beast. Probably not exactly what he wants. And there's a camp. Now, this is a little risky. If Mike the Spike is aggressive enough, he can try and steal some of this farm. But he doesn't know where these other people are. He knows they're somewhat close. So, propaganda
He
getting
can
very
make it.
low. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like I said, very risky maneuver. One of those things where it's much easier for me to spot it as the caster, but...
Denied. Heal us.
Radiant's top tower just got demolished.
Alright, Primal Beast, looking for him, grabbing him, almost didn't get it. Okay, here we go. And again, they basically got a, probably, let's see, almost 1,000 gold out of that, so. Oh, and if they can do well in this, Primal Beast, that's the thing, he's getting the utility out of the hero, even though he probably doesn't have too much farm, which he doesn't have any items really. He is able to provide that Primal Beast to us. And they're trading a Shadow Shaman for 3 heroes, it looks like. Well, at least it was what it was looking like. They lost the Primal Beast. Probably don't lose the Enchantress. They can never get a hit off on her. And Old Man Beef running around with the, yeah, that's a tough situation. And once again, the game is looking like InstaGators' game. I hate to say it, but Chad is a good drafter. I don't like admitting it, but it's true. Dragon Knight. Not the ideal target, but still a very valuable one if they can finish him off. They do have to stop his farm. Spirit Breaker is a bit away. I think people will often overestimate Spirit Breaker's speed. And, oh, 3 seconds to the Spirit Breaker's ult, so they are going to get this guy. There's no way they don't get this guy.
Never refuse gold given.
He's probably, okay. Okay, managed to hold on to his ult while doing it. It took a bit to take him down, but that's very much worth it. Mike the Spike is coming in, saying, hey, there are 2 heroes here that I know are low. Can I catch one of them out in just the right way?
Spirit Breakers TPing out.
Very smart. So, yeah, Mike Spike did not catch any more. It would have been a good way to recoup the losses from the Dragon Knight. But, Gators now 6k ahead. Spirit Breaker relocating himself along the map. If you're playing as, if you're playing into a Spirit Breaker, it's really important to have like some vision along the river because Spirit Breaker has a habit of charging across the river. And perhaps knowing that, Chad has placed a ward right here. So they're likely to see that. I would like to see at some point, maybe it doesn't have to be super soon, on the side of InstaGators, I'd like to see some form of break. And I believe the only real way to get that would be with a Silver Edge. So I feel like the ideal Silver Edge carrier would be the Blood Seeker. But it looks like he's building a BKB. I guess also good.
Yeah.
And they're proving that they might not actually need that Silver Edge because they just took down Red Seal as is. Furthering their lead, all 3 of their cores are ahead of all of Hobbit right now. They're knocking down the tower, which is really one of the things you want to do when you're ahead is to take over more control of the map.
Looks like Radiant's top tower has bit the big fish.
I apologize for missing the kill on the Ember Spirit, but we did get the revenge kill of Gyro. Still, that has to favor Hobbit hole, I would think.
Yeah, as a support player myself, one of the things like at this stage in the game, it's really important to be aware of like where your team is and where the other team opponents are so that you're not getting picked off and then contributing to the other team's lead. So yeah, I would like to see the Shadow Shaman playing a little bit closer to the team. I know that vision is probably important to get around, but maybe they can coordinate together and get up some more vision where they want to be playing.
Yeah, that would be ideal to. Yeah,
and they are smoking.
Is he? Yeah, and he's holding 2 wards. So even if they get nothing out of the smoke, because it's possible maybe they saw it with that observer. It'd be nice for him to get some vision down as he goes.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's tempting to like really focus on like the gank.
Don't run off.
You gotta make sure to like use that time while you're out. Alright, they got the kill on the Clockwork.
Now, but Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated.
And Boobin and Chad are moving in, sensing that all of them are top, or seeing all of them are top, really. It's not I guess sight is a sense. They're pushing the bottom tower, so if they want to trade a T1 for a T2, I would imagine that favors. And there we got another meme hammer on the side of Chad. If you don't know, recently they lowered the channel time on that from 2.5 seconds to 2 seconds, which I feel like is one of those things that makes it a lot more effective. Obviously a subtle change, but I think that can have a pretty profound effect.
Tower is getting obliterated. Okay, fine, you can look. It's kind of fun.
All right, Spirit Breaker getting stopped. Instigators are really needed 4 members of their team down at the bottom. Although now they're TPing Ember Spirit back up top. And try and catch that dinosaur. He BKBs. TP out, my friend. Alright, he must have heard me through the casting booth.
Don't look now, but Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated.
Where are you going?
Oh wow. Okay. At first I thought that the Spirit Breaker was over-eager. You know what? He enabled all of this. So kudos to him for starting all this and getting all this going with some good instincts on his part. And also good instinct to keep following up.
Yes, for sure. Not letting the Dragon Knight get away.
And that's nearly a team wipe with nobody lost. So excellent turnaround. Hobbit Hole trying to get themselves back into this game. And I do see they have some vision now.
Dire's middle tower is taking one hell of a beating. Dire's middle tower has kicked the concrete bucket.
And are they going Roche? Are they going to push?
You can tell Dire's middle tower is in trouble from the way it's being destroyed as I speak.
Probably not capable of rushing at this point. Oh, okay, let's see it. I just don't know if Enchantress is the best Roche taker. Oh, okay. Big stakes good. That helps a lot.
Radiant scanning around.
And now they know. And oh god. Okay, Primal Beast gonna create some space. And they got the Roshan. Can they get in there? Can they help their primals Addy, or will they just let him go?
They're stuck. The snakes, they're stuck.
Oh no.
Oh no.
He's TPing, yeah. Better to TP now while you know you can than after. I think trading the Primal Beast for the that Roshan is worth it, especially because I feel like Instigators probably should have already taken it. So to keep it from them, I think is a big deal. Let's see. Oh, we got a Basher and a BKB on the Bloodseeker. Let's see. Ember Spirit BKB. Meme Hammer on the Dragon Knight. Looks like he's building BKB. And then, let's see, Clockwork with the Spirit Vessel, which is probably targeted at that Enchantress, which is smart. But also should work on the Gyro if he does Satanic build with the Side Gunner. Yeah. Just double checking myself to make sure they didn't
The
do
flames
that.
rush forth.
So Instigators definitely want to fight. They've built for the mid game. They bought their BKBs, they bought their meme hammers. They want to go. I will say Propaganda struggled in the lane, but having a great game, providing a lot of utility to his team while struggling. So
Yeah, the mobility on the Spirit Breaker and the Primal Beast is working really well for them.
yeah, it seems like a good combo, to be honest.
Yeah, the Spirit Breaker charges in, gets the ult off, and then the Primal Beast charges in right after, and then gets the ult off.
Alright, let's see how much time left in the Aegis. 3 minutes, so still got some time to play around with it if you want. Wait for your Shadow Shaman to be up. You don't want to get caught out, because sometimes Aegis just means you die twice. So let's not do that, Kaiser. I think it's the captain with the Aegis. I don't know if he's a shot caller or not, but I think after he finishes farming this, let's get something done with that Aegis, I think. And we're going.
How would you rank the illusion rune from like 1 to 5?
I mean, everything's so variable. If you're playing as an axe, then it's great. I really, as a support, I enjoy playing duels. Wow, that Shadow Shaman is very aggressive warding.
Yeah.
When you are de-warding someone there, like when he sees that ward and he's taking it out, he has to know, like, okay, they see me now. I'm not going to say I've never done that kind of play. Right as it was about to expire, Chad getting that 215 gold for killing the Observer, but honestly, the Vision's more valuable. So, neither team's super willing to fight right now. I think when that Shadow Shaman's up, it's time to go. Let's look at this timer. You got 1 minute left. That means time to create a situation where they really, really are obligated to kill you. And you can get some value out of it. So let's, how about, mid lane's pushing. Let's group up and smoke. Elven Tunic. I think that's a good item for the Gyro. But so is the Mindbreaker. Let's smoke up. Let's go. 45 seconds. Who's got the smoke? I know it's nighttime, but by the time you're finished, like you actually meet the enemy, it will be daytime.
Yeah.
Let's smoke. Let's go. 30 seconds on the Aegis. Come on, guys.
Just what I
Maybe this is it.
Alright, but you want the gyro out. Right from the beginning. Otherwise, when this happens. So close to getting that kill on the clockwork at least.
more like it.
I don't know. It's also possible. Maybe I was just overestimating their ability to fight. They are behind, and they are into a team that is built for this time.
Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. It's kind of fun. Radiant's sturdy bottom tower.
And it looks like they'll probably try and chip bottom. Shadow Shaman's a somewhat decent defender for this.
Don't look now, but Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. Okay, fine, you can look. It's kind of funny.
Instigators have just taken over their jungle.
Yeah, and that's what you want to do, and that's why that's the disadvantage of Dire still. Well, even though I know Dire is like a more favored team now.
Radiant's middle tower is about to be a pile of smoking rocks.
I mean, part of it because they made the triangle weaker. I'll get into that in a second. Looks like we got another fight going down. And it's looking like Hobbit Hole's on top of this one. They lose the Spirit Breaker, but and they fought back on the Spirit Breaker. Now we do have a BKB piercing stun in the form of the Spirit Breaker, and I think the Primal Beast. Whiffed on the Meteor Hammer at least. I want to see Hobbit Hole get back into this. I'm not particularly rooting for Hobbit Hole to win the series necessarily. I want I want to see a good game. Let's get Hobbit Hole back into this game.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Radiant's middle tower is hanging on by a brick.
okay. That fight definitely in favor of Instigators. Basically, in my math, that was a 6 for 2.
gift from the
So
tempest of
2
battle.
members of Instigators died, whereas there were 4 people on Hobbit Hole that died, and then 2 of them bought back. And in my math, my quick math, I just count a buyback as a kill for the other team. So now Instigators up by 14k. Should we take a look at the graph? What do you think it is? You got a guess, Jay? As to what percentage Dota Lord Gaben thinks this game is?
I like maybe 70-30 for the Instigators.
I think it's. I'm gonna guess 85 for Instigators. Just let's see. 86.
Oh, very close. That was like almost spot on.
Oh, thank you. I followed this, and there's a website I used to follow for football that like tried to calculate the percentage chance of a football team winning. It was kind of interesting.
Right. Well, Hobbit Hole is definitely putting up a good fight. They're getting, or they're certainly trying.
Yeah, but keep in mind, a 15% chance is a 15% chance. It's nothing to throw away. He's going to try and TP out, and I think he's going to do it. But now he's out of this fight. They're going to lose the Spirit Breaker for sure. So far, they've just lost some boards.
Die back on Spirit Breaker.
Can Red Seal and Gyro get away from all of this? His BKB ran out. It looks like Gyro gets out. He's just going to try and run them around, I think, at this point.
Oh, no.
I like the attempt to shoot.
This is a monster kill.
Now, how did they take him down? Did they break him at all, or was that just how? The Abyssal Blade, I think, is a way to break through. Does Overwhelm do any damage? I don't typically buy Abyssal Blades, so I don't know. For some reason in my head, I think it's like an attack, but probably wrong.
I think we're both support players.
Let's see. We're going for Roche. Now this is the most valuable Roche. This is the Shard Roche. And it is important to make sure that someone on your team does not purchase Shard at this point. And so far, Clockwork is not purchasing Shards, and let's see if Flying Clockwork. Disruptor has a pretty good Shard, so you pick it up. But all of the cores will pick up the Shard. I think ideally you want to pick a core. They almost forgot about it. You want to pick a core to not buy Shard. Someone who does not need it desperately, but someone who can definitely use it and is high up in the farm priority. I think a lot of people will try and think about it and decide who has the best tags or who has the best Shard. And it's really just, unless they're not going to get it at all, it's just who's highest in the farm priority. That's how it should go. How good, the Clockwork Shard is shouldn't matter. You should just be giving it to, like, the Dragon Knight if you know that you want this Fireball spell. And you can do without it until you possibly just get it for free. But Instigator's definitely the driver's seat. I bet you they're not particularly concerned about the fact they're all able to buy Shards at this point in the game. They're probably just happy that Positive Attitude has his jetpack.
And it's off.
There it is.
So where would you rank, what do you think of the juice?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What do you think of juice? What's your favorite kind of juice? What do you think of the juices?
I don't actually like juice. When I grew up, my grandma would try to say, because juice is expensive if you think about it. It's like
soda basically.
Yeah, but it's like so expensive. So my grandma would always pour a ton of water into our juice.
Oh.
Well, one, I'm sure she wanted to like dilute all the amount of sugar that is in juice, but also just like making it last as long as possible.
Yeah, well, like grape juice, for example, is typically like 100% grape juice is pretty friggin' intense. We got smoke coming out from InstaGators. They caught the sport worker. I would like to just let it go with the sport worker. And it looks like that is what Hobbit Hole will do. They do not want to fight into this Ember Spirit with 2.5 minutes of Aegis of the Immortals propaganda TPing out. So for Hobbit Hole, they chase him for a bit. Now, we haven't damaged any of the tier 3s yet. So, will we start to see that? Can InstaGators go high ground using this Aegis, using the 30 seconds that they have with their power play? I would imagine they can. I'd imagine they want to. They got these meme hammers. Like,
I'll give you the toughest of battle.
what the fuck was that spell? Alright, that's a shard. I guess he gets to throw rocks at people.
Yep, that's Primal Beast.
Like I said, I've not seen too much Primal Beast in my League play. Gators back and all.
Players here.
Showing some respect to Hobbit Hole, I guess. Or, you know what? Maybe they're doing what I'm doing. I think about maybe they're just trying to use up all of this Aegis. But now it's getting down to the 1 minute mark. Now it's time to force something. They need to group up now-ish and pick a lane and shove it in and drop their meme hammers and try and force a fight. If they win, and they get to win with the Aegis. Instead, they're farming Aegis. I don't like that. Bro, your Aegis is gonna expire. Chad, tell your guy to group up. Let's move in.
Yeah. They're slowly moving in.
Okay, we're in now. 19 seconds in Aegis time, so this Ember Spirit needs to find a way to die. He should not be backing out. He should be going in. 10 seconds on Aegis. It is a long time in a fight, and he will get to use it. Okay, these guys need
Very
to not-
last second.
Don't leave him alone. Don't let him get hexed and then stunned and then this.
Yep.
Ooh. Good snakes, by the way, from the Shadow Shop. Very effective. And they're gonna take out the Dragonite. Yes. And they're gonna take out the Buttseeker. Yes. And Chad slinks away. His loyal soldiers dead. He led them to their death. They don't know this, but there is a double damage rune bottom if they bother to go look for it. But I know that's not something I usually think of at this point in the game. Oh, they checked it. And they're gonna get it on Kaiser Sose. And they want to force these buybacks. That should be their goal. Let's get the T2, and there should be time to get the T2 and force buybacks. We're not gonna have snakes for either of these fights. We're only gonna have 3 people because I don't know why the Primal Beast isn't here. This is where it's good to have a shot caller to yell at people to group up. But we're taking this T2 easily. We're getting the whatchamacallit, fortification out of it. And now we still have time, and we should still be going high ground. Primal Beast is here now. Come on, guys, let's do it. I don't care your Daedalus is on the way. You got... You're running out of time. Now, it's important to keep in mind, with a mobile and dangerous hero like Ember Spirit, you don't have all of this respawn timer. You have to start backing out before he respawns. You don't want to get stuck there and then have him respawn on you and then just like immediately do his Ember Spirit thing and get on you. So, they're right to be conservative there. I do wish they kind of pushed a little bit faster, but maybe I'm misreading the situation. Red Seal walking around using that Ancient Ice Shaman with his Ice Fire Bomb. No, now he's using a Ancient Thunderhide.
Yeah. Looks like they're, just taking the time to reclaim their jungle, reclaim their triangle, try and get some more space on Hobbit Hole.
Yeah, it is understanding that they'd want to be conservative. Right now, their only buyback is on Red Seal on that Enchantress, whereas InstaGators has almost an entire team of buybacks, so it's a much more dangerous situation. But you do have to kind of gamble when you're behind. It's kind of what do you have to lose? Propaganda trying to regain some of that farm. He does have a Pipe of Insight and a Shiva's Guard for his team, which is, I definitely approve of that. They got 30 seconds of daytime, and they're going to use it with this smoke. I love to see that. He's going to... Oh, he's not going to put this in. They're on Chad. Not the pickoff they wanted, I'm sure, but let's take it. We're re-smoking. We're getting the Bloodseeker. We need to follow up on this. See the BKBs come out. Now it's time to maybe think about taking a step back a little bit. If they can fight a little conservative, I don't like how they're all grouped up. Chad does.
Yeah.
Chad loves that they're grouped up. And
making that buyback worth it for him.
yeah, they're still getting into that. They're gonna get the clockwork. Wow, they just tanked that. But they're not tanking the fire blast from the. So
wow.
Ultimately, 3 for 5, not what you want. They did get the kill and the buyback on
I just sharpened my spear
Chad.
and I'm ready to go.
Now they're forced to buy back themselves. Even worse, but they had to do that. They can't just. Although, if InstaGators forces it, can the Spirit Breaker? Don't charge out there, buddy. Don't do that. Okay. All right, he did. He hit the right target. And can they as two stop this? I don't know if they can, especially with them committing to fortify aggressively.
If you always hated Radiant's Main Tower, I have good news.
3 on 2, but there's a lot more farm. They're gonna get these for free.
Don't look now, but Radiant's
Clockwork
bottom
can do that kind of SRS.
Radiant's bottom tower is a higher dusty rock. Dire is using Radiant's bottom barracks as a punching bag.
That's 2 laner racks taken very quickly. We're gonna go for megas here. InstaGators gonna try and get megas off of this nonsense. It's gonna be 3 up, pretty soon it'll be 4 up. But might be able to do it. Let's see. They might be the last stand for Hobbit. And another very effective ult from Chad. But you know what, Kaiser Sose doing pretty well. Propaganda. Lost the lane, but doing well in the game, I think. And sometimes that's what Slowdown is about. It's about getting what you can out of what you got.
Now where the Radiant creep's gonna sleep.
The stillness guard vault place is here.
Come on, Spikes.
Kill the Enchantress, that has to be game. Right?
Radiant's middle tower.
Yeah.
Still no GG from Hobbit though. They might, you know, honestly though, sometimes it's smart to just use this time to formulate your plan for next game. And it's possible
Yeah.
they've even been doing that before they all died.
Hey, something's up.
Alright, they're calling it. First game goes to Hobbit Hole. I have not heard anything about the captains changing what they want to do, so this will be a best of 3 captains mode series. So, Hobbit Hole, they need to win these next 2. Let's see if they can do it. But I'm gonna go get some Jews.
Which flavor?
Devout.
Okay.
And we're back
All right,
with some
Dyer gets
Dota
the
2
ban.
action.
Radiant's up.
I am Kino. Of course, my co-caster is Queen Jay.
Hello, I'm Jay.
So what did you think of that first game?
I, I had high hopes for Hobbit Hole,
10
but
seconds.
in the end, the Instigators really did dominate that game.
5 seconds.
They did, and Hobbit Hole had one the flip. Instigators had selection here, and they actually selected first pick, which is unusual. And then I jokingly asked if Chad was disrespecting Hobbit Hole, and
Dyer's
Chad
turn to pick.
asserted that no, he actually wanted first
Witch
pick.
doctor.
And I don't select first
Dyer's
pick,
choice.
but
Let's
I
give
do
it a second.
actually see a lot of merits to first pick, and so I'm glad that someone else does as well. There's certain advantages
Radiant's
such as,
up.
so like right now Hobbit Hole, their advantage with second pick in this phase is they get to pick 2 in a row, so they get to like select a combo. But instead they go with just selecting their 2 supports, so you know what you're going to see in each lane. Like you know there'll be a ranged support in each lane.
10 seconds left. Well,
Chad
8
selected the
now.
Witch Doctor for himself. He likes that hero
5
a
seconds.
lot. But now he's going to get a pick, and then he's going to get. He can use up to 3 bans to protect it if he wants, before Hobbit Hole gets another pick. So he sees the Shadow Shaman, sees the Jakiro. I can already kind of see his head's kind of moving. He's thinking to himself. Should we pick an Oracle here to dispel the stun from the Shadow Shaman and everything from the Jakiro?
Radiant gets to ban.
But you can't dispel Hex.
Slaughter.
Either way, he's going to go
Dyer
with the
gets the ban.
Slardar. I don't think Slardar has any built-in dispel, but if he gets on top of either of these 2 heroes, he can kind of run them down, like they're going to be in trouble. So that's probably where his head's at. He's probably thinking it's going to be a
10 seconds
Slardar
left.
into a Jakiro,
Well,
but honestly,
8 now.
they could swap these lanes. It could be Shadow Shaman
5
5 and
seconds.
Jakiro 4, or the other way around.
I think it's really interesting that the Instigators also, like, their first bans were Undying and Centaur Warrunner,
Radiant gets the
because
ban.
remember
Dyer
when
gets
we
the ban.
played Hobbit Hole, those were our first 2 bans as well, because we know that Beef Supreme on Undying is unstoppable, and then Centaur Warrunner with Propaganda is also
Radiant's up.
just
Banning
really
time.
great, so
All right. Dyer
getting
gets the
those
ban.
bans in early.
Yeah, for sure. It's also Hobbit Hole's probably, Instigators is also thinking they can ban as many offlaners as they want because they already have their offlaner. Hobbit Hole does not have that luxury.
10 seconds.
Well, they can't ban. They wouldn't ban an offlaner anyway. But
5 seconds.
any carry they ban, they might actually. They have to think about whether or not they actually want it for themselves.
All right, Dyer's turn.
They banned the Ursa. I know as Shadow Shaman, I like playing into Ursa.
We're 10 seconds out.
I like
Plenty of
grabbing
time to
onto
tell an
that bear
announcer
in the
you
middle
love
of a
him
fight,
if
and
that's
just
what's in your heart.
looking him dead in the
5
eyes
seconds.
and saying to him, like, you and I are going to die together. Hobbit Hole really thinking about this pick. Going into their blue time. Sometimes that first pick after the first pick of the second phase sometimes really is determining your whole draft. And they're having to think about what sort of lane they might be going into. I also like the synergy of the Witch Doctor and the Slardar, because if someone has the corrosive haze on them, or
Radiant's
whatever they
up.
call it nowadays, um, we picked the giant anime woman. She's literally like twice as tall as the Shadow Shaman next to her, and she is
That's
here.
really strange. Maybe not accurate, or maybe it is accurate. Like maybe Shadow
10
Shaman
seconds.
is really just a small being.
Well, one thing they
5
showed
seconds.
us in the Dota anime, Dragon's Blood, was that apparently there's all these different multiverses, and we were just seeing one of them in the anime. So that version of Invoker and that version of all the heroes we saw is just one of them. And so maybe they're from a universe where everyone is taller and more anime.
Yeah.
Either that, or maybe when they were making the game, they decided they want Marcy to
Radiant
be
knows
more
just
visible
who to pick here.
on the map.
Oracle.
There's the Oracle. Someone really smart was talking about the Oracle and how Chad was thinking about picking an Oracle, and he's thinking about how he can dispel the. You can buff the
10
heals from the Witch
seconds. Just long
Doctor
enough to regret
get
every
pretty
choice
intense
you've
with the
made
False
if you hurry.
Promise.
5 seconds.
You also, if you have a good Oracle player that can know like how much heal to put into that, and I might be picking out the wrong spell. If you can pick out the right amount of heal to put in that ult to make sure they're safe, you can really count it, and then you know, hey, this Witch Doctor's healing up that guy as much as he needs to be healed up, and you can start
Dyer's
healing
choice.
other people.
Let's give him a second.
Then effectively you can save 2 when previously you could have saved 1. And still getting the heal from Witch Doctor and everybody else. Queen of Pain, I guess I like it to try and pick off the Jakiro and the Shadow Shaman.
10 seconds.
If this is going to be Kool-Aid on that Shadow Shaman again,
5 seconds.
he's, to be honest, got himself out of position trying to get wards down in the last game. Maybe partly due to the game state, just the difficulty of where they were at. But a Queen of Pain could capitalize on that. I know when I play Jakiro, like, I don't want to have to deal with people who reposition and like move around the fights. I want to deal with people who just like walk around like normal
Radiant's up.
Dota 2
Banning
heroes.
time.
Puck.
Oh.
We got a Puck, which I guess to silence all of this nonsense and to
Yeah.
lock the Queen of Pain in place. Although she can, what is it? They can
10
blink,
seconds.
and then they'll just be stunned where they are, but you'll still be away from them while you're stunned. So,
5 seconds.
but the silence will still be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Dyer gets the ban.
Before they had picked the Oracle, I was really hoping that InstaGators was going to continue that theme from last game of, last game they had all these red heroes. And so Witch Doctor and Slardar, I was like, oh, maybe they're going to go with all purple heroes this time.
We're 10
But,
seconds out.
they
Radiant
could
is
still
up.
be
Tell an
going with
announcer
like
you
a
love 'em
cool
if that's what's in your
color,
heart.
Like a pale blue.
theme here. Yeah, like purple, blue, kind of those cooler toned colors, cooler temperature.
Right. My wife will often talk about. We'll watch a lot of
10
pro
seconds.
wrestling together, and then she'll talk about people's. I guess it's like their skin
5
tones
seconds.
or something like that, and she talks about how they're different like seasons. So she'll point out one wrestler, and they'll be like, "Oh, that guy's definitely in autumn," and
All right.
then
Dyer gets the ban.
I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, like what kind of makeup should he be wearing to match his skin tone?
It's amazing. I used to watch a ton of WWE
10
and
seconds.
WWF, and then AAA, like Lucha Libre, but
We're starting in 5 seconds. With or
not
without.
so much since I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area.
Does like the lucha stuff not reach up there quite as far? Because I've visited San Francisco a couple times, so not long enough to know how their lucha scene is. I know San Jose is. I've seen, or I haven't seen him, but I've seen that AAA will come through San Jose.
Yeah, they do. I mean, there is a scene up here, like kind of, but it's mostly that I don't have like cable television anymore. When I lived with my parents, I was like watching their cable television. I guess I could like stream online.
Radiant's
There are a
turn.
lot of methods of watching. I just haven't kept up with it.
I've never been able to fully get into AAA. I think I really like seeing luchadors, but I feel like when they're all
10 seconds left.
luchadors, it gets
Wow.
a little bit
8
less
now.
interesting to me. And then also,
5 seconds.
just from
4,
what I've seen of
3,
AAA, like the advertisements are just like really, really constant, like throughout the matches, and that kind of. I'm totally cool with like advertisements in between the matches and stuff like that, but like in the middle of the match, it gets a little distracting for me.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so who are we thinking? What do they need on Hobbit Hole? Like, what do they need to? I mean, they picked up Puck to hopefully help with the Queen of Pain.
Dyer's
What
turn.
else?
Interesting. Is Anti-Mage still available? I don't see it banned.
It's not banned.
I think it was recent. I think he was recently
10
buffed
seconds.
just a little bit. I know the patch was super minor that came out.
Do they have
5
an
seconds.
anti-mage player?
I don't know.
Let's see.
Nick Johnson here. Are we starting? We're starting.
Oh, that's an option
Choose your
too.
hero.
Phantom Lancer also gets that diffusal blade, and he can delete mana. Propaganda has the set for Marcy. I don't know. I feel like that set doesn't quite fit her vibe, but
It doesn't. I mean, it's adorable, but it really doesn't fit. Like, especially like watching the anime. It's just kind of like somebody had fun playing dress up with Marcy.
yeah, it's like in the anime, I just really love those like early episodes where you don't know what her deal is, and she's just there with Marana, and they're at the bar, and then she's like the
starting in
heavy,
5
she's like her
seconds, weather
bodyguard,
left.
and she's just like
Mm-hmm.
someone's coming up and they're disrespecting Marana, and she's just like standing up behind her, just like ready to fucking go, and Marana's having to like back her down, being like, I got this, just chill out. And then you're just like as soon as that happened, I'm just like, okay, what's this tiny girl's deal? What's what's going on here? I want to know. And yeah,
Yeah, drip game this time. I'm leaning more towards InstaGators. I mean, although I will say Old Man Beef has the new Shadow Shaman set from the Muerta patch, so it's kind of cool.
that's cool. Actually, so oh, they switched to their Shadow Shaman player. Kool-Aid is no longer the Shadow Shaman now. It's Old Man Beef is the Shadow Shaman. So we shall see Kool-Aid maybe doing a little bit better on that Jakiro. And
Actually, Beef Supreme has played Shadow Shaman quite a bit, so yeah, maybe they'll have better luck this time. Yeah, like maybe switching to a strategy where they're picking heroes they're more comfortable with.
yeah, I mean they had to do something to switch it up. So let's once again introduce the
All right, get
teams.
ready.
I'll take Dyer again. We have Red Seal on Puck, probably going mid. We have Kool-Aid on that Jakiro, probably going hard support. We have Kaiser Sose on that Phantom Lancer, probably going hard carry. We have Old Man Beef, aka Beef Supreme,
Cheers, my friends.
on the Shadow Shaman, going to be going soft support. And then we have Propaganda on that Marcy. I guess that's an off-lane core Marcy. So that'll be interesting to see. Who would you like to start with on
On
the
the Radiant, Boopin is on. Is it Boopin?
I think so.
Or like Boo Bin?
I don't know.
you know, well, Boobin on the Dusa, Mike the Spike on Queen of Pain, Sam taking the Slardar, Positive Attitude, Witch Doctor, and Chad on Oracle.
Chad doing the Chad move and starting with 2 Sentry Wards. And it looks like Puck starting with a unfinished Null Talisman, so they're not even going to get the Null Talisman recipe. I think they're just going to get the Mantle Intelligence Circlet and just try and rush that bottle. They have no... they got no regen currently.
I came a long way.
So they got to get that last 273 gold without needing regen.
What the herald was that?
Shall we? Cheers, my friend. Shall we? Cheers, my friends.
Shall we indeed? Cheers, my friends. If you have a 40, pop it open. If you have a blunt, light it. It's fucking Voyager League, Land of the Lost, sponsored by the Nickelodeon reboot 1991 TV series of Land of the Lost, coming to Blu-ray soon. Kind of a quiet start, I guess.
Yeah.
That's okay. They're not here to entertain us. They're here to win. There's a lot of honor on the line. This is the Land of the Lost tournament, the inaugural Land of the Lost tournament. This is for people who, or teams, I should say, who did not make the playoffs in Voyager League, and this is their playoffs. So this is the semifinal round. InstaGators versus Hobbit Hole. 2 storied teams here in this division, and on the other side of the bracket, we do have our team, Mary Todd Lincoln, versus, is it Full Effect? No, it's, who are we playing? I probably said in the Discord, and I'm blanking on the name. Oh, we're playing Dually Truck Dumpster Fire. How could I forget that name? It's such a lovely name. So that'll be some stiff competition for us. Winner of that series goes to face the winner of this series.
2 heads patrol a frigid path.
Currently InstaGators with their sunglasses up by 1 game. Now, do you have any thoughts on the offlane Marcy? I have not seen too much of that.
You know, I think with the support of the Shadow Shaman, like, Old Man Beef on the Shadow Shaman is definitely taking more of an aggressive approach. But also, you know, not as a pause 5. This is a pause 4 Shadow Shaman. So I think that, you know, given the like farm, I think Marcy can really pull it through. Marcy can get pretty scary when she gets enough farm.
Yeah, with that ult in her, she can kind of 100 to 0 some heroes.
Yeah, it gets quite annoying in the middle, in the mid stages.
Let's see, they've pushed the Gators that have their creep wave under their the Hobbit Hole tower, and their camp is blocked. And Witch Doctor so far not dewarding it. He does have a sentry, so he might just not be confident in finding it. I feel like people block this camp. It's always in this spot. I feel like it's always in that spot. Not always, but like, I feel like that's usually where it is. Now, Maledict is nice against the Phantom Lancer. You cannot dispel that. You always know which Phantom Lancer the real Phantom Lancer is, because he will be Maledicted. So already off to a good start for InstaGators. If they can shut down this Phantom Lancer, then the Phantom Lancer can't shut down that,
Medusa.
Yeah, I feel like the Medusa, to me, was like a slightly questionable pick, but they can make it work in-game. Like, it's also possible I'm wrong about the Medusa being bad, but, like, either way, even if I'm right about that, I also fully believe that, like, if they can shut down the Phantom Lancer, then they can shut down, they can have their Medusa run free. Good doppelganger or whatever. Yeah, he doppeled out of that one. Let's look at mid lane. Mike the Spike sitting at 20-5. Red Seal sitting at 16-5. So slight advantage for Mike the Spike. Although it's
And a
basically
gank
even now.
happening bottom.
Oh, thank you for catching that. Looks like they'll just run them under tower, and they're gonna have to run home, but they didn't die. That Marcy was doing well, sitting at as many last hits
Radiant's
as the
middle
mid
tower
players
is
are.
about to be a pile of smoking rocks.
You know,
Radiant's
I never
middle
turned
tower is
music back
hanging on
on.
by a brick.
Maybe I'll turn music back on.
Yeah.
There we go. I got the Cave Story soundtrack going. If anybody has any preferences on music, and it's stream safe, then let me know. And if anybody listening has not played Cave Story, it is an indie. Oh, we got a fight going on top.
Gank happening top.
We're gonna trade Kool-Aid for the Gator. Not good for InstaGators, but also like the puck had to come all the way up here. I don't know. I feel like if I'm the puck, I want to be chilling like a villain in mid lane, not losing that haste rune, not getting farm. But that's just my philosophy towards the mid lane. I feel like mid laners should stay making farm. And will that be a kill in Kool-Aid? A lot of damage for first tick. That's definitely a kill. Yeah.
That make a big mess.
Oh, I just noticed this isn't, I mean, I guess we called it out, but I just noticed that Chad's not playing on his beloved Witch Doctor. He cast the Witch Doctor off to Positive Attitude so he himself could play the Oracle.
Yeah, you know, I noticed that earlier. It's like, well, I think of all the players on their team, the Oracle's probably going to go to the Chad.
Yeah, it's definitely a hero he plays, and it's not a hero a lot of people plays.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
One of the least popular heroes in Dota 2 in terms of play. Burning question mark for Michael Spike.
Radiant might want to haul
If
some
you're
ass
in
down
chat
their
right now
bottom
and you're
tower.
hearing this, what is
Well,
your
they still
favorite
got one.
flavor of juice? Do you like a nice cool grape? Do you like a nice smooth apple? Are you a freak and you like cherry juice? Let us know.
I'm actually allergic to apples, and I'm pretty sure I've been allergic to apples for a long time. Oh, it looks like the Marcy went down.
I didn't see it. I was too
Unfortunate.
busy talking about juice, but that is a big setback. She was doing well, and so
Yeah.
that gank to the bottom lane may have been pretty effective, I guess. Or maybe she goofed up. I don't know. I didn't see it.
No, I think it was just
Invisibility.
the wrong positioning. But yeah, I've always had really bad feelings about apple juice because it always makes me feel sick, and it turns out I'm allergic. Alright, Puck ganking bottom. Going on the Dusa ults.
Dusol is very effective, but they do have all the mana out of the Dusa, so if you've played into a Dusa, it often makes sense to check her mana pool as you're fighting her. especially in the late game when she gets higher levels of mana shield, because it really is like you beat down the you beat through her mana pool, and then you start beating through her health pool.
Oh. Oh, the Quap's just jumping around. Tried to sneak up on him.
Doing
Got
quap
him.
things. Now, I'm trying to think of who has more scaling ability, the Quap or the Puck. I mean, they're both kind of playmaker, mobility mids.
Radiant's middle tower is hanging on by a brick.
Both using these bottles to big effect. Alright, we got a gank going top from the Puck. We're following the Puck. They're pinging out that Witch Doctor, thinking that's my target. Witch Doctor's way out of position. Let's get the Witch Doctor silenced and myrtleated. Mike the Spike has responded. He identified where the gank is going. All in all, not really the biggest win, honestly. Not much going either way. It was a very much slower start. We're only 4-2 at 11 minutes. Not typical pub Dota. This is some very calculated out, tactical, team-oriented Dota.
Denied.
Radiant's middle tower is about to be a pile of smoking rocks.
Going for the combo.
Oh.
And that's a kill on the Jakku. No. Oh, I think.
He accidentally placed a ward, I think, instead of using his Tango.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like the
Dyer's
ideal
middle
ward
tower is
placement.
assured. That
I
thing is
think
standing on
the
its
Oracle
last
may
leg.
have saved the Jakiro there because the heal was pretty effective, but I could be wrong.
Just what the doctor ordered.
But yeah, if you guys have not played Cave Story, which this music is from, it's a really awesome kind of run and gun platformer from the early 2000s, and it was a total fan-made game. It was like this cool retro sprite-based game before that was like a huge thing.
Radiant's middle tower is hanging on by a brick.
Identical forts, Red Seal calls out. This is the classic identical fort strat, which we see from both teams. I'm gonna switch over to net worth, and we actually see that Slardar is a dead Quap.
May you ride
Um,
on nether zephyrs.
Highest net worth is the Slardar, actually, followed by Red Seal on the Puck.
Regeneration.
Kaiser Sose,
Dyer's top
pretty
tower
damn
is
close to that
really digging
defuse.
it.
60 gold and he's there. So yeah, there it is. He's got his defusal coming out to him. That's going to make him much more capable of dealing with this Medusa. I don't know what typical time you're supposed to get, but I feel like Musa's not quite had enough time to farm. She goes Dragonlance, and I know a Medusa player who will say that's the wrong build. Because Dragonlance is just not a good item for Medusa. And we shall see.
Radiant's middle tower is about to be a pile of smoking rocks.
In the summer, I really love a good, like, chunky
Don't
watermelon
look down, but
juice.
Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. It's like
Chunky
Dyer's top
watermelon
tower is in
juice.
trouble funny.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Invisibility.
Yeah. You know, you take, like, watermelon, you chunk it up into juice.
Can you buy this at a store though?
No, but like some boba shops will sell it.
Okay. You know what? It sounds like some freaky deaky West Coast hippie shit, but also you know what? There's nothing more American than a watermelon, so I'm for it. We're TPing top. We are looking for a fight. We're trying to take down the #1 in farm, Slardar, but he's getting away. We got Marcy. She's all scary with her fire fists. And
Down.
so
Prize.
overall, a good trade for Hobbit Hole. Hobbit Hole looking much stronger in this game.
Man, Radiant does not like Dyer's bottom tower, and it shows. Radiant's throwing all they've got at Dyer's bottom tower.
Well, Slardar's next item. Oh, he went hand to Midas. Oh, maybe that's why his net worth is high. I don't know how much he's used it. Is that a thing? Do people go hand to Midas on Slardar? Okay, he gets 40 attack speed from it.
I feel like any core rolls have been going Midas just to like catch up.
But I feel like you're spending so much time where your net worth is tied up in this hand of Midas, and it takes a long time for it to actually pay off. And in all that time, like you could have had another
Radiant's
item.
middle tower denied.
Haste.
I don't know. Slardar does benefit from attack speed. It does represent a fifth of his attack speed. You figure it out, math nerds.
Don't look now, but Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. Okay, fine. You can look. It's kind of funny.
J.K. Simmons told me to look at the bottom tower, so I looked, and it wasn't very interesting. I got whiplashed. We're still defending this tower at 17 minutes. We brought the Medusa down. Oh, with Chad. Okay, sorry. I only saw the Medusa, but there's also a Oracle there. So yeah, they keep safely defending that tower. Kaiser Sose, like, he has to be thinking like, hey, this is my time. I need to hurt that Medusa. So maybe Kaiser Sose is thinking, I'm gonna knock down this tower, and then I'm gonna have access to this jungle, and then I'm gonna get in there, and I'm gonna hurt that Medusa. Right?
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Alright.
Deuce
we
is
got
farming now, so I think it'll be able to take this.
I think that's a blink reveal from the Slardar, getting a kill on the.
And PL and Shadow Shaman are smoking. I think they're gonna go look for the Dusa. Shadow Shaman does have snakes.
I am not a betting man, unless it's basketball, football, horse racing, rugby, cricket, or curling. But if I was,
They get the gank on the Dusa.
And they do, and he manages to sneak out of the sneaky snakes. And they're going to join mid. They could be going for that Queen of Pain if they, I don't know, but they probably don't realize she's up there. Got the big old Jakiro ult going on. We're hunting down that witch doctor. We're hunting down still the highest net worth in the game, that Slardar. He's still sneaking away. Slardar, what's his next item? What's he doing? He's going for Shard, which is the...
Okay, fine. You can look. It's kind of funny.
Okay, Corrosive Haze is in a radius. Interesting.
If you're in the vicinity of Dire's top tower, I'd put on a hard hat. That baby is coming down.
Just some farmer going on. Still kind of a quiet game, honestly. We're still going on that Slardar, though. Can Hobbit Hole take down that Slardar? It looks like they
Yeah.
Dominated.
In vigilance.
It's only his second death. Boobin. Let's see, he's not really close to another item. He built a Yasha, which I believe he just built in a Manta style. So that's a whole 2.5K away.
Looks like Radiant's top tower is getting torn down.
I say, hey, go for it.
Radiant's top tower just got
I
stomped
feel like
to
maybe the
pieces.
play with Dragonlance is to break it apart to build the Yasha like right away. Although, maybe that doesn't
Dire is
make much
kicking
sense.
sweet hell out of Radiant's bottom tower.
I think it's
You
just
can tell
skip
Dire's
the
middle tower is in
Dragonlance.
trouble from the way it's being destroyed as I speak.
We're going on the quad, maybe? Nope. They saw her, but they just barely cannot see that this sentry is here. Not that it's a particularly viable sentry. I think I saw like
Radiant does not like
the
Dire's
last
bottom
cast I
tower,
watched
and
with
it
the Lima
shows.
Major. That exact thing happened where this specific spot someone had a sentry and the other sentry could not spot it.
It's just right on the edge of being in range.
Yeah, and honestly, like this spot for the Dire Sentry, sorry, the Radiant Sentry. Yeah, no, Dire Sentry, my bad. That Dire Sentry is in a strange spot. It's not like, I understand he's not putting it on the cliff so he can see further this way, but he could put it further that way.
Yeah.
Dire's top tower is
Just a little
really taking a
nitpick,
beating.
but
Don't look now, but Radiant's
We're always
bottom
thinking
tower is
about
getting obliterated. Okay, fine,
where are
it's
the
kinda fun.
optimal places to put wards.
okay, if Chad comes back through, he can see that observer ward and he can kill it.
Illusion.
Smart of Kool-Aid to keep checking that because Chad did just roll through. I've never really seen this ward where it's right next to the
Radiant's middle
What's
tower is
the
hanging on by a
outpost?
brick.
that's an unusual one.
Yeah.
I like it though.
Radiant's middle tower
It's
is
like,
about to be a
especially early on, I think that makes a lot of sense because, like, if they don't have that tier 2 tower, they're
Yeah.
not going to be able to count, or it's unlikely that they'll counter it.
Right. And so as long as you think you're gonna hold on to your tier 2 for the next 7 minutes or whatever, then
Dire's top tower is
ooh,
really
that
taking
Clop's
a
in
beating.
trouble. Did she just blink into there of her own accord? This is a bit much. Instigators in a bit of trouble.
Dire's top tower is like belly up.
Big smile on your
Radiant's
big
middle
dumb
tower
face.
is hanging on by a brick.
They got killed, all right.
Snakes down on the T2. So that bet that
Radiant's
Chad
middle
made
tower is
might
about
not
to be
pay
a
off
pile of
actually.
smoking rocks.
If they go and take that outpost, they'll get a free observer word for it.
Radiant's middle tower is hanging on by a brick. That's it for Radiant's middle tower.
Yeah,
We'll
this is
never
the Hobbit
forget
hole
you,
I'm used to. Where
Radiant's middle tower.
they're having a much stronger showing this game.
Dire's top tower is really taking a
Double
beating.
harm shall I deal.
Little treasures.
Alright, so Hobbit Hole taking over the map. We did
Yeah,
get-
and actually, like the Deuce has been farming on their side of the map this whole time. Nobody's really been there, so it is pretty good space for the Deuce.
Yep, and she's going to pick up her Manta style right now, so she is going to be able to just push those lanes for free.
Don't look now, but Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. Okay, fine. You can look. It's kind of funny.
It's unfortunate for this Hugger, although I think he's going to get broken free by Chad. Good save. Will Chad live to tell the tale from it, though? Big play by this Witch Doctor, really coming in hard. Swamp now is... Okay, I thought that Swamp was going to come in and do something big. No. It's unfortunate. I'm kind of struggling in the farm department, to be honest.
Yeah.
They have a Sanj key
Radiant's
up?
middle tower is about to be a pile of smoking rocks.
Are they thinking Heaven's Halberd, or are they going to go, like, Kaya and
Radiant's middle tower is
Sanj?
hanging on by a brick.
I don't know what they're building towards with that Sanj, honestly.
Radiant's scanning for enemies.
I think
Or maybe
not a
for
quad
friends.
player.
They look unpopular.
this like Hobbit Hole draft though is just it synergizes really well, especially against their team. They're able to really capitalize on these team fights. So I'm really hoping they can turn it around this game and keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
Don't look now, but
It's
Radiant's
at least
bottom
looking
tower
like
is
we're going to
getting
see a game 3.
obliterated. You can look. It's kind of funny. Radiant's sturdy bottom tower was built to
They
withstand.
didn't get the last hit in the
never mind.
tower, though. Tisk, tisk. I'm gonna blame Red Seal.
Hope Dyer's middle tower
Tisk,
isn't sure.
tisk, Red
That thing is
Seal.
standing on its last brick.
This is your official reprimand. You better kill that Quap. Looks like you will.
Dyer's middle tower has kicked for concrete bucket.
Quap really struggling. I was kind of hoping the Quap would feed on the, or at least from the perspective of InstaGators, I was
If you're
hoping
in
the
the
Quap would
vicinity of
feed
Dyer's
on
top tower,
the
I'd
supports
put
of
on a
Hobbit
hard
Hole.
cap. That baby
But
is coming down.
that doesn't seem to be the case. I think those supports are locking down the Quap.
Yeah.
Along with the
I will
cores.
say also, the puck's bottle management has been really like spot on compared to the Quap. I know that I've just kind of as I've been observing the game, the puck has really been making the most out of this bottle.
Yeah,
And now bottling a DD.
that's pretty sick.
Well, warm when they killed him.
Because
Cold now.
yeah, like 158 tack
Things are looking
damage.
dire for Dyer's
And
bottom tower.
that's
Forget I
just
said
all
that.
gonna
Their
get doubled.
bottom tower is in trouble, though.
Sometimes people look at double damage, they forget that it only doubles
Dyer
the base
doesn't haul
damage.
ass and help out that
So
bottom
with it only
tower,
doubling the
there's
base
not gonna
damage,
be
you want to do
time.
with a lot of
Dyer's
base damage,
gone
he
to
does
a
right
tower
click
farm
for
up
puck.
top. Looks like the Dyer figured out where Radiant's top tower.
Early on, like occasionally a hero like Shadow Shaman, like DD is actually, he's the ideal carrier.
If you're a fan of Radiant's top tower, Radiant's top tower has bit the big biscuit. Things are looking dire for Dyer's bottom top.
Double harm shall
Forget I said that.
do.
Their bottom tower is in trouble.
A little bit of a bridge too far.
Dyer's
They lost their puck.
one
It's,
hell of a meter.
I don't think that Jakiro should be doing that, although I do understand the mindset of Jakiro. I do shit like that. Ooh, they went Aeon Disc on Jakiro. I personally don't agree with that.
Aeon Disc, as a support, Aeon Disc is like my favorite item. Always get Aeon Disc.
I feel like there's just more you could do to be effective. It only works every now and then, and with all that like burn damage and stuff that he stops doing. And that is a team wipe for the Instigators against Hobbit Hole. Instigators instigating their way back into contention here with a 3.5k swing. It's pretty intense. Now they can't take Roche. This is why it's important to take Roche, because if Hobbit Hole hadn't taken Roche when they could, guess who'd be taking Roche right now? Instigators. Curious to how much Mike will commit to this push. He has been getting picked off recently. Yeah, he's gonna back off. He doesn't know that they got these people here, and they're gonna bring Phantom Lancer TP anyway. Looks like people are content to farm, and you know who benefits from that? I say it's the Medusa. Medusa wants to farm. She is countered in this game by the TL, so I don't think the normal, like, we gotta be super afraid of this Medusa late game is present, but nonetheless, like, you don't want to be a Medusa and not be farmed. You want that to be in that late game state. It looks like the Cave Story soundtrack is now playing menu music.
Regeneration! A prime silence!
Got a smoke play
Ooh, who's
from
smoked?
Gator.
Oh, there we go. Can you get it? Can you get it? Oh,
No, just a millisecond too late.
oh, but they're on the Medusa. She's ulted. Oh, no, she's in the burn. She got stunned by the puck. Well played in the side
The
of Hobbit Hole.
Macropire.
Hope
Yeah,
Dyer's
they
middle
burned
tower
the
is
Medusa
secure.
down.
That thing is standing on its last brick.
Will they be able to get? Probably. Yeah. Can they get Jade? Or Chad? Sorry. Good on Sam to cut the wave. That's going to be a lot less capability to push. You're going to have to wait a good amount of time on the side of Hobbit Hole. There's little things that are hard to think about when a big team fight's going on, because obviously the results from that team fight are more important, but still those little effects like where the creeps are would be a big deal. Snakes are down, Glyph is used.
Radiant's middle tower is about to be a pile of smoking rocks.
They were able to protect the
If you always
snakes.
hated Radiant's middle tower, I have
Snakes have been focused on the range racks, which is important. Unless you're confident you can take down the melee racks, it's range racks first.
Radiant's middle barracks just fell. Radiant really could have used those barracks.
So put on the Dota music real quick.
Mere coin?
We got another smoke play on the side of Instigators. I like that they're trying to smoke out and catch something. They don't realize they've run into the entire enemy team. I can't imagine this ending well for them. They did get their AKD and disc popped. So, okay. Alright.
They're getting split up quite a bit.
Yeah. And basically they kicked Hobbit out of their jungle. They got some BKBs and stuff popped. Yep. 6-second BKB in Marcy. I don't know if any of the people on Hobbit Hole still have fresh BKBs. A student item check in general. We do see a Heart of Tarask on the PL, which will make those illusions very annoying and hard to kill. So it looks like just the BKB on the Marcy. The Marcy's BKB is already down to 6 seconds. No Roche yet. He doesn't know it, but he has to wait 1 minute.
Also, one thing to note, there is a gem on the Jakiro.
Ooh. Yeah, I just look at the Jakiro and I'm like, how so much of his net worth is just tied up in the Aeon Disc. So he's keeping a hero alive with the Aeon Disc, but he's not allowed to do damage while it pops. There's a big cooldown to it, and then the hero he keeps alive doesn't have a Glimmer Cape. It doesn't have a Force Staff. Doesn't have an Etherlands, like the items you want the Jakiro to have. So especially this early Aeon Disc, I don't approve of.
Definitely, like having one more earlier support item would be more beneficial to keeping the Jakiro alive.
Fight happening for the moment without the PL, but the PL is here. Buckle. Get boppled, I guess, but they're gonna take down the Medusa. Medusa is ulted in the middle of the fight and turned it way around.
Ow.
Big old Medusa ult. Buyback for the Witch Doctor. They're taking down the Medusa finally.
That's a double kill.
Ah. This PL is kind of ballin' right now.
Yeah, it's a good game to be a PL. There is a Gemma Trusite on the deck, apparently. I didn't see it. Okay, PL has it. I don't know which music pack it is I'm listening to right now, but it reminds me of the music from Westnoff, if anyone's played that game.
I always forget that I have the Dead Mouse music pack on my Dota because I also turned the music all the way down.
Oh.
Yeah, usually I'm like listening to like my music or listening to the bot in Discord.
Sometimes I have the music in Dota going. I like it because it's dynamic. Like it has like different layers of sound. It's like playing.
Yeah.
Like depending on what's going on. Like there's specific music. There's like music and like orchestral stings that it'll play if like there's a gank or something like that.
Or if you're just like spawning from the fountain.
Yeah. I have it set so it always plays the default music. That way, hopefully, I never miss the queue when I respawn and forget to start like playing the game again. And Roshan will be up now.
A prize.
There it is.
Oh, right as they left the pit. They don't know. Okay, he's checking. He's checking. Okay, now he knows. And now they know. 2 illusions hanging out in the pit, reporting back. They can fight, but there's no information we need. Timeless Relic. Now, I would think that would go to the puck. Yeah, they're gonna keep it the puck. I think logically, like the team should basically stay in this circle, like around the triangle and the jungle, and it's just a fight over the roast
Dyer's
bit.
scanning all over for enemies.
Dyer thinks Radiant already went in, but they smoked and they're coming for them. I hope they recognize this. Oh no! Oh, he went on illusions. They popped the Ambus from the hero.
What's going on down there? Is that a kill stream?
I like the spike going for hero. We're gonna use the spells. Get some. What's the Medusa gonna do? Can they? Okay, it's a stun fight basically. Propaganda and Sam and.
Total domination. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can punch a wall right now.
Okay. Buyback on the side of Hobbit Hole. So in my estimation, I think the Instigators won that.
Yeah, I said dieback, isn't it?
No, he bought back, but he didn't die. So it's a 4 for 3 for Instigators. There's a gem inside the pit sitting on the ground, so I think Kaiser Sose put it down so that he could. They're directing Deep Scream to pick up that gem. We'll see how long he can hold on to it as that Shadow Shaman, a hero known for a lot of deaths.
Regeneration.
They're gonna get that, and they're gonna get that shard. Did they save? Let's see. Spirit Lance.
Life can never be too long.
Yeah, give it to the.
Yep, on the
PL.
PL.
Good stuff. From
What a sense.
known as Hobbit Hole. Alright, so we're slowly massaging. Like, these teams have a lot of respect for each other in that they're really trying to, like, take a lead and then massage it into victory. Another smoke from the side of Instigators. They're letting their Medusa farm while everyone else smokes. Medusa's going to shadow them. Okay. They identify Marcy. They're on the Mercy. She's silent. She's looking pretty dead. She pops her BKB. Stunned through the BKB for Chad. But she is a hero with a BS ability. So
Yeah,
she
she's
gets
a slippery one.
that. Yeah.
Wish fulfilled.
Silence.
While that was happening, yeah, Hobbit Hole just continued to push on the opposite end of the map.
Yeah, and so they've forced out TPs. There's no TP off cooldown on the side of Instigators. So well done. Let's see, will this Aegis get used effectively? There's still 3 minutes left and it's still all that time. BKB popped from Slardar, so if I'm Hobbit Hole, I just want to back out of this. Okay, BKB's already over. Wow, effective,
Yeah. This, like, PL Marcy combo is really effective.
Mega kill. Like watching a knife cut through butter. Weak, defenseless butter. Okay, calm down. No, won't do it.
that is a 4 for 2 on the side of Hobbit Hole because we did get a buyback from the Slardar. Still just looking to massage that into victory. We have 1:44, so they can wait for that Shadow Shaman to be up and still have a minute with that Aegis. I would like to see them kind of, you know, let's get this melee axe here. Let's get this T2 bottom. Top we can kind of leave alone because it's full health. But if I'm Kaiser Sose, that's kind of the plays I'm directing. I'm saying like, all right, we need to get the Shadow Shaman to TP here as soon as possible, and we need to get this train pushing. If we have a method, we'll make sure the creeps keep pushing into mid, and then let's focus on bottom. Let's finish off this DT tower. Let's get 2 lanes of ranged racks, and those melees will fall easy. And let's do it in the next 59 seconds.
But Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. Okay, fine, you can look. It's kind of funny.
Wind Waker and the puck.
Don't look now, but Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. Okay, fine, you can look. It's kind of funny.
Alright, we got the tower.
Radiant's
Let's get the
bottom
range
is
tracks.
fixed in
We're
its
directing the
rigged
snakes to the range tracks.
Dyer's using Radiant's bottom barracks as a punching bag.
They're doing exactly the right thing, and they're not stepping far forward. They can hang out here, even though like maybe it'd be ideal, like perfect efficiency would be to burn that Aegis. If they get the lane of racks, then it doesn't matter. Aegis will expire. They're gonna lose the Shadow Shaman and the Jakiro. Lost one of our supports. We're gonna pop the Aeon Disc on the. People like their Aeon Discs. It doesn't matter. Aeon Disc does not save them. And so that was a 4-for-1, although they did lose the entire bottom lane. That's going to be a 5-for-1, it looks like. Or no, I'm sorry, that's Mike the Spike.
This is a monster kill. Oh, yes.
This PL is big. He has 56 health regen constantly because of the changes to Heart of Jurassic.
God godlike, and that is a triple
And he just slips away. They couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Where'd the gem go in all this?
Radiant's middle tower is hanging on by a brick.
Oh, gem just sitting there. Wonder if
Yeah,
they see
it's
that.
just in lane.
It's hiding behind a tree. They might not realize it. Medusa has Divine Rapier.
Oh,
I think she needs to start saving up for her second Divine Rapier. Also, at this point, wouldn't you want to get rid of the wand and I don't know. I'm trying to think if the Wraith Band would be better than the wand because
I think so.
But that mana regen is so effective for Medusa, and she's so tanky. I think the active of the wand justifies it. I don't know.
Double damage.
Either way, it's probably not that big of a difference in effectiveness, so.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if they're breaking down Medusa, because I believe they buffed the Mystic Snake aspect of Medusa. They kind of buffed the spellcasting abilities with kind of weak before this. BKB popped, but then the stun through the BKB. We're going to use a defensive, what was it, the screen? Sonic Wave.
Yeah.
Defensive Sonic Wave. DD on the Phantom Lancer will run out. He has a Bloodthorn. Oh my gosh. That is quite the item into this lineup.
So much silence.
Okay.
Radiant's top tower just got demolished.
I was thinking they might try to deny that one with the tick damage. But yeah, it's still looking like a Hobbit hole game. We've seen some flashes of excellence, you know, from in terms of the Medusa's ability to fight. But it seems like the PL is probably too much. I am curious to
Yeah.
see Divine Rapier and possibly a second Divine Rapier. Is it still 6,800? Or didn't they buff Divine Rapier recently? They reduced the cost by 350 gold. Still does just as much damage, so it's actually 5,600 now. I say if you're Medusa, sell the wand, buy the second Divine Rapier. I know she's probably thinking about buyback, but maybe.
Whoa! That is a double kill.
Why MKB? Is there some?
Dyer is wiping their big purple butts with
I guess he's got the hard
kill
grasp.
spree. Look at you go.
Okay.
Kicking the
Pretty
bejesus
hard
out of
to.
Radiant's Warrior.
I hope they've identified that she has a Divine Rapier at this point.
Pretty cold move, Dyer. Now where are the Radiant creeps gonna sleep?
The gem has switched. It is now on the Oracle.
It's a good item to be able to clear out your base reliably. Make sure there are no wards there. I'm trying to figure out why the MKB. I mean, obviously she got split shot, uses modifiers. So I guess you get full effect from the magic hit from it, but I don't know. I think just once you buy the first Divine Rapier, now you want a second Divine Rapier. Let's see, this third Roshan's going to go down. It's going to provide a Refresher Shard and cheese. Let's see. He's going to go boostless. So hold the Aegis. And I agree with that. Refresher for the snakes. Who got the cheese? Puck got the cheese. Puck has put away their level 1 Dagon. So they need to really make sure just to play around this Medusa. And they also need to be ready to pick this up. Like that Slardar needs to already have thought it out in his brain that he's gonna pop that mango, blink in, and pick up the Divine Rapier. PL is drawing on that part of the map, thinking, I guess they're gonna go farm over there. They're smoked. They're avoiding the temptation of hitting the creeps. They're walking up. Still not seen. They're going on the Quap. They've hexed the Quap. They focused down that Quap, and they have not really paid much of a price for it all. They've also gotten snakes down on the T4.
That's Refresher snakes.
Yeah, 2 sets of snakes. They do need to get the PL on top of that Medusa. That Medusa is, oh god. Keep going, Medusa, you just gotta... Now, she's used like a third of her mana. She would like to get back to base, just to dip her toes in that fountain. Like, she'd absolutely love that if she just had a split second to do it. She might not. It's a bit much to be caught in. Musa finally in the fountain, healing up.
Even death may
Dire
die.
is wiping their big
Healed her by
purple butts
2/3
with
mana.
Radiant's top barracks.
Probably all she needs, really. DL cannot go toe-to-toe with Medusa at this point.
Let him go.
So they've held the base. They don't have megas, so that's good for the side of InstaGators. It's gonna be hard for them to get the 60-minute items, but there are potentially 60-minute items coming your way, and those, if you're the team that's behind, typically I think you want those, want to try and get those items. If you're a team that's ahead, you kind of want to close out the game before they come out. Like, there's a lot of them, like the pirate hat. I like that bottle scale is listed as like a stat. Yeah, there's some good ones that could really benefit that Medusa. Apex, there we go. Plus 70 primary attribute. Stygian Desolator. If either of those two came out, or even Mirror Shield, that'd be really good.
Ooh, yeah.
If that one came out and they get their hands on it. Now, if you're on the side of Hobbit Hole, you do
Radiant's
have some
courier
ability to
just
keep
took a
them
turn.
out of those camps. Like, I would even consider, they might not have time to really think about it like I do, but if they put down a sentry and blocked that camp, that would be the easiest camp for InstaGators to get to. They jumped in, they hexed the Medusa, but it was a false initiation. They threw down snakes, they gotta clear these snakes, and they're doing a good job of doing that. They're not getting too out of position, it seems like, although it was a nice macro fire. They need to just get Fountain and heal. Meanwhile, the Medusa's stepping up. A little scary. I know she's only out just a little bit, and she's very capable of defending herself, but if you lose that Medusa, you lose the game. She does have enough money for another Divine Rapier, but can't really get to the. Her courier's dead, and she sure shit isn't gonna walk out to the secret shop. What would you drop? The Hurricane Pike?
Yeah. Oh.
Or maybe you just save up for buyback and just have a Divine Rapier in stash. It's an option.
I could just getting rid of her boots.
Okay. And she Crystallis, so she's probably thinking of a Daedalus. Okay, I mean, I guess more efficiency. Chad, I hate you for drafting this team, FYI.
Oh, Radiant's top barracks just fell. Can Radiant come back from this? Between you and me, maybe.
It was a very aggressive blink in, although we do have an awesome ult from the Medusa.
Oh, this
The
should be
ult
good.
is over now. We have it with Medusa in trouble. This is a full-on red alert. This is a full-on, we're going to lose this game, have Medusa go. She does have buyback, but she does not have... Where's Divine? Where's Divine? Where's Divine? Divine is held by the Jakiro,
Wiping their big purple butts with
and
Rose
Jakiro can no longer drop that Divine, so... Good stun, probably will.
Okay, well, there it is on the ground.
Kaiser's trying to get it. Kaiser needs to get it. Well, he doesn't. He does. He does. One of the highest win percentages
Yeah.
in the game, if not the highest win percentage of the game. Is Divine Rapier. Alright, that is a Hobbit Hole victory, so that means we're going to game 3, which means I'm gonna go get a snack, and we will see you guys in a bit.
turn to pick. Radiant's turn to pick.
All right, we are back for Game 3. This one's for all the goddamn marbles, or at least all the ones in this half of the bracket. The winner of this is going to go to the Super Bowl of Dota 2, which is the Land of the Lost Grand Finals, against the winner of Dually Truck Dumpster Fire and Mary Todd Lincoln. We got Hobbit Hole, and they're again opening with that Shadow Shaman Jakiro. Big fans of that. We're seeing new stuff out of InstaGators. InstaGators were not happy with what Hobbit Hole drafted. And they're sticking with the Centaur Warrunner and Undying bans, but they're opening with something entirely new. Warlock and Sand King. We've seen a lot of different supports out of the InstaGators.
3, you get it.
We've seen the
Radiant's
Witch
up,
Doctor.
banding time.
We've seen Disruptor in the first game. We saw an Oracle. So they're kind of exploring the traditional hard support landscape.
And I think Hobbit Hole did not like playing into the disruptors that they've been banning at every game now.
Radiant's up.
It
banding
was a
time.
very good disruptor. It's that's one of Chad's comfort heroes.
All right, Dire gets the ban.
And again, we see I think the same offlane bans, or no, I think the PL is a new one. But yeah, they didn't like dealing with that PL. I believe they picked the Medusa into the PL last game,
seconds.
right? Or no, they didn't. They picked the Medusa and then got the
5
PL
seconds.
picked on them.
And yeah, the PL was the counter to the Dusa.
Yeah. And I was a little surprised. I feel like if you're thinking about picking a Medusa, you want to try and get Anti-Mage
Dire's
and
turn to
Phantom
pick.
Lancer out of there. Those are the two big mana burn heroes. And then Invoker if you think you might have to deal with an Invoker.
Ten seconds. 5 seconds.
Again, Hobbit Hole really spends some time in this pick. It's often, this is where you kind of decide the direction of your draft. Or at least where you pivot from. So often the first pick out of the in the second phase can be pretty critical. They've been banning carries, and I guess a mid laner. No, sorry, they've been banning mid laners, but they still need one themselves. Whereas InstaGators have been banning off laners, and they already have their off lane taken care of.
Radiant's up.
Tide Hunter.
I don't know how to feel about this yet. I guess we'll see.
Well,
We're
you
10
can
seconds
naturally
out. Plenty of time
purge
to tell an
stuff from
announcer
the
you love 'em
Warlock.
if that's what's in your heart.
So
5
I'd
seconds.
say it's good. I like it. Or no, you can't purge the Fatal Bonds, but you can purge the Shadow Word. Yeah. Can you purge Caustic Finale? That I don't know. I'll pull out my phone, look that up. Okay. So here's someone saying that at least in 2020,
Radiant's
Caustic
turn to pick.
Finale
All
says
right,
is
Dire's turn.
dispellable, but it isn't. the slow after the explosion is, but you can't purge the it before it happens. We got a wife stealer and we got a Lina post Lina destruction patch.
About 8 now.
I think that's probably going to be a support Lina,
5 seconds.
but they could put it mid still. It's possible Mike the Spike believes in it still, but I would venture to guess that Positive Attitude's going to play that Lina. Let's see. Lina is an interesting hero because she started in an anime and then went to Dota and then appeared in the Dota anime. So now there's an anime character based on a Dota character based on an anime character. It'd be kind of like if they made a stage production of Dota and they
10
had Puck in
seconds.
it.
5 seconds. Dyer gets the ban.
Hmm.
Ten seconds. We're starting in 5 seconds, with or without.
It's situations like these that make me really think about a question I always keep coming back to over and over again, I find. You're not going to ask me what the question is?
Oh, I was waiting for what the question was. I thought you were gonna keep going.
No, well, okay. The question is, what is your favorite Will Ferrell movie? And I asked that to you, and I asked that to everybody in the chat, and I asked that to anybody who's watching this on YouTube for the replay. I'm gonna go with the other guys.
I'm torn. Oh,
10 seconds.
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm
I'm torn between. Oh, go ahead.
I find myself
5
quoting
seconds.
Talladega Nights all the
Hands
time,
up.
but I don't feel like it's like an excellent movie. Like I feel like it's just kind of going from like one scene to the next, which is like fine. Whereas I feel like there have been some other like Will Ferrell movies. I can't remember the name of the director he collaborates with, where there have been some. Oh, we see a Viper Band. Interesting.
10 seconds.
Okay, but what was yours? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm from San
seconds.
Diego,
Ah.
so I feel like I have to pick Anchorman, but I've seen Elf so many times that like, and I can recite almost the entire movie by heart. So I don't know.
Oh man, wasn't that with Isn't that the chick from Twilight before she did Twilight? Or no?
No,
Who's the female lead in that?
an Elf?
Yeah.
I think it's Zoe Deschanel.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, like pre-famous Zoe Deschanel. That was okay, so we see a Zeus come out. That is not a Viper. What are they thinking about with this Viper ban?
10
They
seconds.
just not want their Tidehunter to get Vipered? That can't be
5
enough.
seconds.
They gotta have like they're thinking about like what, like a bristleback or like. Oh, they were thinking about a timber saw. That's it. At least that's what InstaGators thinks they were thinking about. Hobbit Hole, in theory, was thinking timber saw, so they banned the Viper, and then they have Zeus come out thinking like, okay, they'll pick their timber saw and we'll just blow up this Zeus. Sorry, we'll pick this Zeus and we'll blow up the timber saw. We were talking, Jojo, you missed it. We were talking about the Hobbit Hole art, and yeah, we're giving our critique of it. We think it's really good. I do like the picture. I love the font. I think the
Dave
font's
Johnson here.
amazing. I don't know if you did that custom or how you pulled that off.
Choose your
Windrange.
hero.
Fascinating. But I wish there was some texture to the that tan color. I feel
Yeah,
like,
make it more like a banner.
Yeah. And I know there's some like textures and stuff you can get online. If you still have this image in layers, which I suspect you do, then I think you can go back and put some like texture to it, maybe some like framing the edges. I know there's some like artwork people have made specifically for making Dota banners, which I've like adapted. All right,
10 seconds.
Drip War,
Just
who's
long
got
enough
it?
to regret every choice you've made if you hurry.
I'm going with Hobbit Hole.
Yeah, I think they've been pretty consistently the winners in this, huh?
Yeah.
I do like the Sand King set. He looks kind of like Hannibal Lecter. I do like the Warlock set. Chad's been bringing it for his team.
Yeah.
Lena, like, there's so many good Lena sets. How come you don't have a good Lena set?
I'm trying to get the new Lena set from that the new treasures that are out. It's so cool. Yeah, Lena is one of those heroes that has so many different cosmetics and different styles too.
Yeah, I worked really hard. I really wanted the that badass like cowboy set. Okay, so I'm just getting word JoJo didn't know that Lena is originally based on an anime. So I'll just lay it out now. Lena is from the anime Slayers. She's Slayers. She's the main character. It's like from the
All right, get
90s.
Cheers, my friends.
I like it a bunch. It's a cool show and kind of like a almost like D&D kind of world. But anyway, we have on Wind Ranger we have Red Seal. We're going to be playing mid. We have Beef Supreme on the Shadow Shaman. I think he's been playing the Shadow Shaman all night. Or no, I'm sorry, not all night. I think they switched. Kool-Aid back on that Chikiro again. We got Propaganda playing offlane. He's going to be on the Tide Hunter, which we've not seen him play yet. That was a cool time. I've not seen him one before, honestly. Kaiser Sose, the captain, he's going to be on the Juggernaut. It looks like they're looking for some sort of opening action. So who we got over on Radiant?
That would be Boopin on Lifestealer, Mike the Spike playing the Zeus, Sam's on Sand King, Positive Attitude is taking Lena, and Chad on Warlock.
So I'm curious to
this
see
is a different play.
they're waiting to spring out. Now they have to be ready. I see some of them are kind of facing the wrong direction. Because someone might pop their head in. Okay, time to go.
Shall we? Cheers, my friends.
They
Ancient killers?
needed to
Let's kill some ancients.
have their
Yeah.
stun or whoever pop out first. They do get 2 out of it. Chad's gonna sneak over and get this one. So 2 for 2. I feel like they could have gotten a little bit more of that instead of Hobbit Hole. But this one's the deciding game. This is game 3. This is the first ever 3-game series these people have played all season, and they came to play. So we're gonna take it to game 3 and we're gonna decide it there. It's where game 3 is where we see boys become men and men become women.
And we hate women, right? Or is that just Jester?
That's just Jester. I am pro women. Jester's anti women. So we have a mixed stance on women on Mary Todd Lincoln Forever Young.
He asked me to.
What is your favorite pasta shape?
I'm just gonna go with linguine.
Linguine. That's a good choice. Definitely a go-to in our household.
It's a good choice. It's certainly not an interesting one though, is it? I feel like it's like the most normal shape.
I feel like also like the ratio of pasta to sauce
Mhm.
is pretty good. Like, you know, like sometimes with like angel hair,
Yeah.
there's not enough texture because it can overcook really quickly. But if you like that kind of mushy texture, it
Yeah, it's
could be
pretty easy
okay.
for angel hair. It's like you're not getting the texture of the individual strands. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, you're getting a lot of sauce. It's probably going to the center of that angel hair. Yeah, we
Oh,
gotta.
this Tide Hunter is going down.
It's gonna be a rough lane for him. It's. I mean, whenever an offlaner sees a lifestealer, it's like, ugh. You know, did we have to have a tank this game? Could we just do a tankless game of Dota 2? Because is anyone tanky into the lifestealer? But I don't know. You still have to have a tank, I think. Or at the very least, it's not bad to have one. Old Man Beef is watching, does not have a sentry, but he apparently watched the Lena deny her own sentry. Oh, good save by Gator. That was going to be a spin into the Lena. Lena being a Dota hero. Obviously, all Dota 2 heroes are based on Dota 1 heroes, and in Dota 1, they weren't selling the game, so they could just put whatever the fuck IPs they wanted into it, and one of them was Lena from Slayers, which was somewhat at the time popular anime. I think that's why in her bio she's called Lena the Slayer. Oh, let's pull up the last hits and denies so that my good friend JoJo and anybody else who's watching this live or on YouTube can see the last hits and denies. Trying to figure out where people are at.
Looks like Radiant's top tower is getting torn down. Probably as best.
I feel like he just stayed just a hair too long. I don't know. He's taking a lot of damage. He does not have a lot of. He's just going straight for mana boots. Okay, this propaganda guy is very aggressive with his health bar.
I'm really rooting for propaganda because of the shark cosmetic on the Tide Hunter.
I do like the idea of the Lena into the Shadow Shaman. I think that Chad, being a support player and how he thinks he's very good at identifying support matchups, and so that's probably part of the thought. He's like, okay, Shadow Shaman has to stand wherever he wants for Shackles, and that's just a free hit with an LSA. Yeah, actually, so all of Lena's spells, I guess other than Fiery Soul, are in the anime as well. So Dragon Slave's a big deal spell in it. Light Strike Array is a big deal spell in it. That's why her spell names are weird, like Laguna Blade. I think that it's called Laguna Blade because of like a mistranslation. The dub of Slayers.
Interesting.
Yeah, the dub of Slayers was really like as all dubs were in the 90s, like really janky. They
Looking forward to beating the odds.
the person who the person who voiced Lena, who I think did a great job, she her casting agent got her like a roll call in like one part of town, but then like her car broke down or something like that, and she ended up like calling her agent. She's like, hey, I can't make it, and he's like, okay, let me see if there's anything like within walking distance of you. And so that's how she ended up in the casting call for Slayers. But they have like
Oh.
yeah, but then they have like other like main characters. There's one where they had to change the voice like 2 or 3 times, and one time was because they simply lost track of the voice actress. They didn't have her damn number, and so they couldn't call her back to voice for like the second season or whatever.
Regeneration.
Yeah, I like old anime. I also like support Lena. I like it because other people. It's the same thing with Jakiro. Other people at the
What can
time
I say?
were buying a lot of
Nature
Yule
loves me.
Scepters, and I'm like, hey, I'm a guy who can
Man, Radiant does
propagandizing
not
him.
like Dyer's bottom tower, and
And
it
I'm a
Yeah.
guy who like is like, hey, I can actually land these, and now I don't have to buy a Yule Scepter. You know, a little bit of fiery soul speed, I guess, to get away, or maybe just boots. Everybody should have boots in this lane.
Yeah.
Maybe not
She's
tanking,
also like Lena is just super fast, like move speed, so really easy for Lena to get away.
Let's see, we got Mr. Luigi agreeing that linguine makes a good sauce vessel. And I agree. I like a lot of pesto in my pasta.
Yeah. You know,
I'll put extra
I don't know
garlic
if they
and
have-
extra pesto.
they have Costco out there?
Yeah, we got. I think Costco's pretty much nationwide.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like a Costco Sam's Club like split somewhere. But Costco makes a really great pesto sauce.
Oh, okay. I can believe that. I like Costco because they give their employees the day off on like, you know, Thanksgiving and all this stuff. And they've had like, I've seen so many instances where like, yeah, angry people are like, how could the Costco be closed on Thanksgiving? And it's like, people work here and they want to. The humans who work here would like to spend time with their
Tell
families. So
Dyer's middle tower is in
get
trouble from the way
fucked.
it's being
Like-
destroyed.
That's
as we
great.
yeah, they're like pretty solid. Give me. That's. I don't like playing into a lifestealer as a Jakiro, really. I mean, maybe I kind of like the challenge because I like to identify when his rage is gonna run out, and throw down an ice path, like that'll just be there as soon as his rage runs out. Especially now with the way they've made changes to make the ice path last longer than the maximum stun. Even before this buff, where they buffed that specific aspect of it. But yeah, he just raged right through that ice path. No kills, but propaganda's running home. So is Jakiro. I think he should be. What are you gonna do here? I mean, I guess he got full mana. I don't know. They got vision down. They put in advanced extra vision. Oh, man. So yeah, tough, fast times at Ridgemount High and tough times for the Sand King. Still a 1k advantage on the side of InstaGators. They're Boobin on this Lifestealer seems to be doing really well. Top of the chart last hits. We also have a Zeus who seems to be somewhat beating Red Seal mid lane. And as I curse him with that statement, he's getting run down. Okay, now I want to see how Chad builds his Warlock. Chad, very good support player. I want to see how much he puts into Upheaval. Sorry, I should probably follow this. But I watched a game someone played recently in this patch where Upheaval was particularly good, and they just put a lot of points to Upheaval early on. And I remember there being a time where like max Upheaval Warlock was really good, and I'm curious to see if it's back. I'm curious as to how much Upheaval effect we're going to see in this game.
Regeneration.
JoJo dropping some classic Misty Mountains, Fellowship of the Ping, Hobbit hole. I guess at this point, is Fellowship of the Ping the organization, and
Radiant's
Misty
middle tower
Mountains
is about to be
and
a pile of smoking rock.
Misty Mountains and Hobbit hole, or team is a part of that organization? Maybe JoJo can clarify it.
Radiant's middle tower is hanging on by a brick.
Snake's hitting mid, but we're going to defend it with a Sand King. He
Radiant's
has his
middle
ult in
tower is
5
about to be a
seconds,
pile
so
of
he's
smoking
probably going
rock.
to ult. Nope. He's been looking for the opportunity there.
If Dyer doesn't haul ass and help out that bottom tower,
Radiant's
there's
middle
not gonna be
tower
a
is
tower
On
smashed all to
Red
hell.
Seal, but Red Seal's just going to run away.
All they've got is Dyer's bottom tower.
Not a lot of effect out of that staying capable of knowledge.
I'm being told I'm supposed to say ownage right now.
You were a commanding presence.
But I mean, that's
Which is
Ravage.
more than I can say for good
Probably
God.
one of the best ults in the game. Big long cooldown though, so InstaGators can take a little bit of solace in that fact. They don't have to deal with that thing for 2 minutes. Me personally, a lot of those big ults, I do like to mark the time on those.
Double damage.
Looks like the Dire figured out where Radiant's top tower is. I am not a betting man, unless it's basketball, football, horse racing, rugby, cricket, or curling. But if I was, I'd bet on Radiant's top tower coming down.
I do like this stun being committed to stun the siege creep. I always do that, and I see other people not do that.
Gold for my master.
Alright, so once again, Hobbit hole conspiring and taking out the Radiant towers.
I am not a betting
The
man,
Shadow
unless it's
Shaman
basketball,
kind of out of position
football,
again.
horse racing, rugby, cricket, or
Committing
curling. But
the
if I
snakes,
was,
will it be enough?
I'd bet on Radiant's
No,
top
so
tower
that's
just got
a-
them up.
They've lost the Shaman wards and they've lost the Shaman, and Wind Ranger forced to back away.
Dire is kicking sweet hell out of Radiant's bottom tower.
So this Shaman needs to play just a little bit more careful. I know you gotta
Shaman
be.
again?
That's Beef Supreme.
Oh, right. Yeah, same as last game.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, I know as a sport, your role is to kind of die a bunch and put yourself, you put yourself in somewhat risky positions to place wards, hoping that no one's there. But
Arcane power.
it's got to be like a measured thing.
Things are
Preemptive
looking
upheaval,
dire for
and he
Dire's
lets it
bottom
go
tower.
right as the
That
Wind
was
Ranger comes up.
intentional. Forget I said that. Their bottom tower is in trouble.
They're hunting the Elixir, they're committing the Ravage. They need to start TPing. Do we have TP? Yeah, we have TPs available. I like that. Yeah, we dropped the rock, we dropped
My
the
goodness.
lightning. It's a big old deal.
Wow.
I think we might. Okay, wow. Shadow Shaman doing work here, but not enough. Same thing with
Oh my goodness,
That
that's
is
a
a-
wipe.
yeah. Really effective stuff. Fight recap. That is a almost 2.5k swing
Help out that bottom tower. There's not
towards
going to be a tower
InstaGators.
left.
We're now 2k up.
Man, Radiant does not like Dire's bottom tower, and it shows.
I do like the Wind Ranger's answer to the Life Stealer.
You're not going anywhere.
Dire's bottom tower is gone to be with the big brick in the sky.
Cut. Not. I know I'm in the sky.
Time to go.
Mine.
We become whole.
Alright, so we're taking the last T1 tower for Hobbit Hole.
Looks like Dire's top
I
tower
don't know if
is
I
in
would
trouble.
have left the snakes, I guess. But
Radiant might want to haul some ass down to their bottom tower. No doubt one. Radiant's sturdy bottom tower was built to withstand. If you're in the vicinity of Dire's top tower, I'd put on a hard.
Chad meets the enemy here. And he TP's out. Good reactions.
Hope Dyer's middle tower is insured. That thing is standing on its last. Don't look now, but Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. Okay, fine, you can look. It's kind of funny. Dyer's top tower is really taking a beating. Don't look now, but Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. Okay,
Now,
you can look. It's
Hobbit
kinda
Hole's
funny.
committed four observer wards to this bottom area. And
Yeah.
So they need to play in it. I say fuck top T2, although
Radiant's middle tower is
know.
hanging on by a brick. If you're
They
in
do
the
have a fort.
vicinity of Dyer's top tower,
I would
I'd
use
put
the
on a hard
fort.
hat.
I would
That
actually-
baby is coming down.
I would have used it sooner to try and take out the siege
Dyer's
creep
top
that's
tower is
paying
really
super
taking
close
a
attention to.
Don't look now, but Radiant's
Their
bottom
core's
tower
on a farm,
is getting
but I think it's time for
obliterated.
Wind Ranger
If you're in the vicinity
to
of Dyer's
move
top
over
tower,
and
I'd
flip this
put on a
tower or
hard
something.
hat. That baby is coming down. Dyer's middle tower is taking one hell of a beating.
There's the Ravage. And Instigators turn it around.
Yes, that is a double kill.
So yeah, not what you want to get out of your Ravage. This is not the result.
Killing spree.
I don't know if Chad had to do that, but he did it. And now he's got a Golem to push the mid tower with, I would say.
Yeah.
Double damage.
Seeing this shark cosmetic on the Tidehunter makes me so happy.
It looks like he was at some point planning on building a Soul Ring, but just decided against it and rushed those Arcane Boots. 'Cause he's just sitting on two casual Gauntlets of Strength. I can't imagine at this point he just had to finish it. Okay, and when they gave Zeus that little hop, when they took away Static Field, and they gave him a heavenly jump, that was such a change, because his whole weakness was that he was so immobile.
Mm-hmm.
I think this Shakiro needs to do a bit of a better job of trying to combine his Ice Path with his Macro Fire. Occasionally you don't do it, but I've seen him do that a couple times. And I think he needs to make sure to try and Ice Path and Macro, or Macro and Ice Path. Typically Ice Path and Macro, though. I mean, mainly you want to shove Macro Fire in like an annoying area for the enemy team where they're forced to walk through it if they would really like to. But you do still want to get that damage out of a little bit extra damage using the Ice Path. There we go. They got a free Zeus. Well, I wasn't really free. They
You down there, you are
definitely free now.
Wait, are we in mega kill territory? 1-2 double kill. Trailing bodies.
I'm so excited. My mac and cheese is here.
You need to step away to get yourself some mac and cheese.
Oh no, my wonderful spouse made it for me and he brought it over.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
My wife is being lazy and she's just sleeping in bed right now. She's not bringing me mac and cheese at all.
He even brought me cayenne pepper and garlic granules so that I could sprinkle it all on my mac and cheese.
Yeah, my spouse also knows at this point that I like hot sauce with my mac and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Hot sauce bottle.
Oh yeah.
And she has brought me mac and cheese in the past to many Dota things.
Ah.
Bounty.
Ooh, is a bit of a misstep by Red Seal. He thought he saw an opportunity, but he did not realize there was a Sand King right there. And he paid for that with his life. We got a double damage. Who's that gonna go on?
Who turned up the heat?
Not a bad choice. Definitely much more of a right clicker, and he has about as much base damage as everybody else.
This game is making me think about this strategy of like choosing really versatile support heroes where you pick an unconventional support hero because it can pivot into whatever the team needs.
Better to burn out than
Yeah.
fade away.
You should be honored.
Which is definitely probably kind of something you want specifically for your position 4. Although I will say she does not really have the farm to... Oh, I should switch it over to net worth. I should have done that a while ago. She does not really have the farm to do
Yeah.
that. She's working on a Yule Scepter. Which I guess is okay. She can Yule's herself. Yule's is an effective counter to Juggernaut because unlike Invis, which like can be... They can get True Sight on you, so they can keep going on you. It would make you not get attacked by the Omni Slash. We got a smoke coming out from the side of Hobbit. It actually eats the Omni Slash hits, so Omni Slash still hits her and does no damage while she is Yulesed. So one of those heroes where like, yeah, they sort of want to Yules, so it's good to get a Yules that game. You're again getting blown up. The beef getting blown up. It's messy fight, everybody in the middle of each other.
There's a fine line.
Uh-oh. Not going the way of Hobbit. Although we do see 2 buybacks.
That is a double kill.
Let chaos.
Is Zeus just going to buy back the TPM? I don't agree. I mean, it's hard to make these decisions because you have to make them so quickly.
Yeah.
But the quick buyback by the Lena, obviously, you don't want Lena buying back just the farm.
Dyer's top tower is really taking a
Not a
beat.
very expensive buyback, though, for net worth.
Money to burn.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of 5 for 5.
Tell
It's kind of
Dyer's
an even
middle
trade,
tower is in
really.
trouble from the way it's being destroyed as I speak.
It's definitely a thing to think about, like, as a support with a lower net worth, just, like, buying back because it's so affordable and, you know, being able to turn those fights.
Yeah.
Fortune's changed.
Dyer is scanning for enemies. Probably hoping to catch a glimpse of them nude.
Alright, whose move is it in this game? InstaGators are up by 7k. I guess at some point you want to start thinking about like what's the vehicle for the life stealer, you know, to pop out of. You got the heavenly jump from Zeus, but it's probably the same. So it's
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, it's getting a little late in the East Coast. I guess is Sand King thinking about getting his Ags maybe, so that he can burrow strike much further. He does have a blink. I guess the blink's probably enough. He's gonna go on this guy who's probably gonna spin, but it's,
Dominating.
with the Zeusel is enough. Let's see, both teams, their observers are on. Let's see, I guess this is a signature Chad word. I can't even click on the word. Oh, there it is. Chad's ward by the outpost, and then this one on the cliff, which is about to expire. So no one has any vision on the other side of the map, which implies to me that both these teams are playing and kind of playing a bit passive for a bit.
And that seems to be the strategy that they took last game as well. And so maybe we're gonna have another 50-minute game.
It could be.
I guess last game was 60 minutes because they did they were working on those, or they were about to get those 60-minute items.
It was pretty close to 60 minutes, yeah.
By my whiskers, that's good stuff. Arcane mystery.
Alright, we got 90 seconds of arcane. What are we gonna do with it? Or wait, is it 90 or is it 45? I can't remember. We're hunting. We're looking for Blink Ravage. Okay, we got a Zeus is pretty big, and we're gonna get a Warlock Balloon, so no more heal for them. And we get it all before they can respawn in any way at all. So, very good for Hobbit Hole. And it looks like now they're thinking about pushing that bottom T2. They want to be able to take over that outpost and be able to start controlling that jungle potentially. It is a difficult team to try and take Roche into, with them having the Warlock potentially with his ult, the Zeus that can get free vision, and the Sand King. So
Don't look now, but Radiant's bottom tower is getting obliterated. It's kind of funny.
we got a very speedy boy in this Sand King, I guess because he's a life stealer now. He's thinking about blinking in. We're probably trying to wait for the Zeus to be back up. Towers will be gone by that
Radiant's
point.
bottom is testing its brick.
And they're going in.
Oh, there he goes.
Zeus is, I'm sure, TPing in. There's a healing ward active. Healing ward's in place really effectively by having close up. But he's getting murdered by that Sand King. Kills the healing ward. Excellent play by the Sand King right there.
He's sneaking by.
And they should be able to catch these supports. These supports have been having trouble surviving.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, more excellent play by the Sand King. Very effective. Indeed, wicked sick. They lost the T2 tower, but they gained a lot out of that. Yeah, not a lot, but yeah, a good bit. Close to 2K.
If you're a fan of Radiant's top tower, I'd shut my eyes right now.
Alright, what's our next move? What are we thinking next on the side of Gators? Indeed, he's getting an Ags, by the way, so he's going like full mobility. He's got the boots of travel. He's fast as fuck even with, because he has the Yules and the boots of travel.
Bounty.
and then he has a blink to move with, boost travel, TP around with, and he's going for Ag Scepter, which will increase the length of his burrow strike speed. Very, very mobile, very good carrier for the Lifestealer. And he and the Lifestealer are the two most farmed people in the game. Pretty close to a Mjolnir for the Juggernaut. Not gonna pick up your food. What if you need to regen? See if Chad sends his courier to the cliff. Oh, no. Oh, we're on the Jakiro. Again, the Aeon Disc. Although now there is actually water runs to support it. Sam draws all that heat and he slips way out. So, excellent move.
I'll take your tribute.
Both teams kind of formed up, kind of farming. So good coordination. I mean, you lose a little bit of efficiency moving around the map this way, but you're ready to take a fight and win it, potentially. As opposed to just getting murdered. Alright, we're on the Jakiro. Juggernaut is used to spin already. Got stung through the spin. Lose the Eels. She didn't get the Eels off. But still, it is a dead Juggernaut, and I think you trade a support Lena for a Juggernaut any day of the week. Especially when you get his ult down. They should be thinking about Roche, and it looks like they are. They're X-pinging the they're X-pinging the T2. They need to get these people into Roche. Sometimes people think like, oh, well, I have the opportunity to take a T2 tower, which I guess they're not even doing. I don't really know what's going on here.
Or maybe for friends. Unpopular.
But
Dyer's middle tower
Aegis, the goal of an early Aegis is to take out all of the T2 towers. So if you basically kill them and you force them to take and disable the Aegis fight, they could potentially lose. Basically until the T2 towers are gone.
Kick the concrete bucket.
We got a Lifestealer in trouble. He gets inside. Oh, that was a good. I didn't even realize that he went all the way through that tree and got the Zeus with that. That's awesome. So we're seeing some good plays out of Red Seal, at least in moments, but he's kind of blowing up in the fights. Between all the magic damage and the Lifestealer, it's a lot to ask Wind Rangers survive through. Let me check deaths just to make sure I'm right about that. So that's certainly how it seems.
Dyer's scanning all over for enemies. I promise this will get more exciting.
Yeah, 4 deaths. I don't know. Not a high number. Actually, the lowest on the team. I don't know. Seems like Red Seal's having trouble like getting to where he needs to get in the fight to be effective, though. Like he's having to ult people and then run away and stuff, as opposed to just like dumping all of his arrows into them.
Yeah.
Money to burn.
And again, like, we're playing on the InstaGators side of the map the whole time. We're playing kind of defensively for the most part, but the InstaGators are up by, they were up by 13k, or 14k, now they're up by 13. And they're looking to set up for another play. Is a nighttime smoke. So they're gonna have to, like, let their smoke break and then guess as to where they are. Through down vision. Alright, they'll just get a Jakira for their efforts, but that's acceptable. They should consider Roche.
Oh, and Jakira's gem is on the deck.
Oh man. Okay. We're in another fight here. They're again stunning the Juggernaut through BKB. That's painful for the Juggernaut. Wow. Let's take Roche,
I
guys.
am not a betting man.
No?
Unless it's
Who
basketball,
wants one?
football, horse racing, rugby, cricket, or curling. But if I was, I'd bet on Radiant's top tower coming down.
Alright, now they're probably gonna go take Roche, yeah.
And they should cut this wave as well. But let's get this Lifestealer into the Roche pit with all this Desolator stuff. Chunk that guy. Yeah, honestly, I feel like at this point this should have been the second Roche. And then we're getting a free shot and someone who's
Kill Roche. Too bad. You wouldn't guess, but he was a hell of a cook. Dyer's middle tower is taking one hell of a beating.
Alright, so let's, I guess, get pressure in the T2. Let's take all the T2s with this Aegis that we have. Red Seal's gonna try and
Don't look
demand
now,
a response,
but Radiant's
but
bottom tower is getting
Sand King
obliterated.
should come down here.
Fine,
As
you
he
can
is
look,
the
it's
TP
kinda funny.
boots. It is nice to have at least one person on the team with TP boots. Someone who can, like, handle themselves particularly.
Yeah, and there comes the Sand King.
Yeah. Red Seals know how much is behind the Sand King, so Red Seal has to back out and go defend.
If you're in the vicinity of Dyer's top tower, I'd put on a hard hat. That baby is coming
And
down.
because of the TP boots, in 10 seconds he can go back.
Yeah.
Dyer's top tower is really taking a beating.
So yeah, just like one person with Blades clear TP boots can be really effective for a team.
Want some milk?
Goodbye, Aura.
Dyer's top tower is great spell with
And it looks like we're losing a life stealer to Save Your Buddy syndrome. He does have Aegis, but honestly, I think he's probably just going to die twice. He might take some with him. Oh, he might take two very important people with him, actually. He might take a lot with him.
Wow.
Time to go high ground. There's a DD available, but they do not see it. So they're just going to go high ground. Get that creep wave. InstaGators looking very strong this season.
Yeah.
I think the moral of the story is don't have a kid. It's bad for your MMR.
You tell me that now and I'm about to have my frozen embryo transfer.
I guess I should have told you sooner.
I mean, can my MMR go any lower?
Dyer's top tower, I'd put on a hard hat down there.
We got 3 hits and that Shadow Shaman is gone. It's looking pretty rough.
Dyer's top barracks may not be long for this earth. Dyer's top barracks just fell.
I like that.
So the grieving process begins.
Look at how much they're having to do to put this much damage into him. Like, he's fine. He hasn't even ulted. Alright, you want to take a guess on the graph? What does
I'm
Lord
gonna
Gaben
say.
think?
You know, I feel like Hobbit Hole has been like giving some really good fights, but I still don't think it's gonna be enough. So probably 80-20 to the InstaGators.
Oh, I'm gonna go 4 times as hard for the Instigators, honestly, is my guess is to the graph. And I'm gonna say it's 95% what we got. No, I should have gone even further. I should have got 4 times further than that, basically.
Oh,
Or
wow.
Twice as far as that, because it's 98%. But keep in mind, these are coordinated teams, and whereas any pub stack would have just given up at this point, and I just played a game where we were winning, and everybody still managed to give up at me. They all just started blaming each other. But with a team that's like used to playing together and trust each other, and there's like a captain making calls, they're capable of doing things that like a pub stack is not. That being said,
you know,
it is a very
Dyer's
uphill
historical
battle
bottom
for
tower
I
is destroyed.
I just
It was
I
named,
can't
of
give
course,
up
after
on
Jeff
Team
Bonner.
Shark here.
That, looks like all the details I was given just to Jeff Bonner.
I know. Every time I point out the shark.
That's their tank, so I think Hobbit Hole did play a good game here, but I think InstaGators have just kind of whittled them into this. Like, they've managed to leverage every team fight they won into just a little bit more of an advantage. I do wish they took Roche earlier, but they just carefully whittled away Hobbit Hole.
My soul's light ends. I return.
Dyer's middle barracks are taking a beating. Middle barracks just fell.
Alright, well, barring a miracle from Hobbit Hole, this means that InstaGators will move on in the bracket. They'll face the winner of Mary Todd Lincoln Forever Young and Julie Truck Dumpster Fire. We got a Wind Raider doing what she can, but she's being kited pretty hard. And she's probably oh, okay. Let's see. She's gonna die.
I know how to count a three. That is a triple kill.
So if you were curious to see the other side of the semifinals, the other semifinal round, then tomorrow night at 9, there will be a broadcast from Spanish Inquisition 5 guys. So we'll be broadcasting the Land of the Lost semifinals on that side. And then the winner next week, they can do the best of 5 if they want to, they can do best of 3 if they want to, they can do a best of 21 all-rated deathmatch if they want to. But next week will be the grand finals of the Land of the Lost tournament. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll take a little bit of a look at the items and graphs, but that's going to be basically it for the broadcast. Who would you pick as your MVP, Jed?
For the entire series tonight, or
Sure. Or this game, whatever you want to do.
this game, I mean, the Sand King had some really, really sick plays, so I would say Sand King.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Sand King as well. I think he is, saying that Sand King was really good. Let's see. I think Propaganda was very strong in moments on the side of Hobbit Hole. I thought Kaiser Sose and Red Seal did very well. But yeah, great series from all those people. Congratulations to InstaGators for moving on. Thank you very much to Hobbit Hole for participating. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I guess leave a comment or whatever. But hope everyone have a good night.